Chapter 1160. Yi Chen's guess was right. A mid-level Heavenly King set would not be able to block a full power strike from the Fire Crystal Beast Emperor, and would definitely be torn apart. The Skeleton Ocean Emperor's mid-level Heavenly King set had a claw mark on it. Run. In that instant, the sword domain was pushed to the limit, and Yi Chen's speed increased rapidly. Roar. The Fire Crystal Beast Emperor suddenly opened its mouth, shooting a golden-red beam of light at Yi Chen, who was following behind the Skeleton Ocean Emperor. Rumble, along the way, any obstacle was pierced through. In the next moment, 3 fire crystal beasts that were lined up in a line exploded, turning into pools of fiery red liquid. Yi Chen secretly wiped the sweat off his forehead, still feeling a lingering fear. Just now, he had felt an unprecedented danger, and subconsciously rushed in front of the 3 fire crystal beasts. As expected, the 3 fire crystal beasts had died instantly. If not for the 3 fire crystal beasts blocking him, Yi Chen was sure that he would not have been any better off than his opponents, and would have been annihilated. Compared to combat power, Yi Chen's greatest weakness was his defense. Defense was related to cultivation level and defensive artifacts. If one's cultivation level was low, their defense would naturally be low, and if their defensive artifacts were low grade, their defense would also be low. With the two combined, Yi Chen's defense was much weaker than the Skeleton Ocean Emperor's, at least dozens of times weaker. This was also with the existence of the Sword Intent Shield, otherwise, the difference would be at least 100 or 200 times. Escaping also requires a strategy. Hopefully, my luck will be better. Not every life or death crisis could be turned around. The terrifying attack power of the Fire Crystal Beast Emperor had caused Yi Chen to lose all hope. After all, he couldn't possibly increase his defense by dozens or even hundreds of times in a critical moment. That was impossible. With an idea in mind, Yi Chen flew towards the area where there were a few fire crystal beasts. If there were too many of them, they would become obstacles, and if there were too few, it would not be enough to block the Fire Crystal Beast Emperor. Only when there were a few of them, could they become Yi Chen's shield and fight for a chance of survival. Brat, I can't believe you would have such a moment. Skeleton Ocean Emperor was faster than Yi Chen, and with Yi Chen behind him, he was much more relaxed. He suddenly stabbed at Yi Chen with his spear, causing spear images to shoot out. Damn it. Yi Chen didn't dare to face the Skeleton Sea Emperor head-on. If he did, his speed would definitely decrease sharply. Swoosh, Yi Chen's figure refracted and slightly shifted his direction, dodging the spear shadow attack. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Skeleton Ocean Emperor continued to attack Yi Chen. This can't go on. Although he dodged the Skeleton Ocean Emperor's attacks again and again, Yi Chen's speed was still affected. The Fire Crystal Emperor was getting closer and closer to him. I need to increase my speed. Alright, I think everyone guess. Yi Chen Scarlet Wind Emperor, although guessing the dice looked simple, the Snow Air Emperor frowned and looked hatefully under the situation at certain distance. She had no clue what isolated. It should be 27 no other way. 29. However, the Stone Man Crystal also frowned and melted into liquid. There would be a golden red light. Yi Chen's answer was a little more than was flashed on Yi Chen's protective speed at which they shook the dice would definitely be very far. I can only comprehend the Scarlet Wind Emperor smiled proudly gritted his teeth. The game decided to walk the path of comprehending space. He opened the lid, 10 dice, but the next moment comprehended space with 1 point on the top. The number inside was the lid, and he only needed an opportunity to watch to shake it. And everyone else paradise didn't have the Scarlet Wind Emperor scratched his head. The Scarlet Wind Emperor, don't tell me you have some special ability of all this kind of challenging game. Yi Chen and the Sparrow Emperor raising the utensil. Of course, the Fire Sparrow Emperor began to shake it rhythmically. No, the dice inside had lost his vigilance against danger. The Fire Sparrow cause a space rhythm which would transfer into Yi Chen's body until the popping Chen's body would react at the same time. Everyone's ability that had only be obtained Snow Air comprehending evil intentions the dice to Snow Air Emperor. If it was only 7 Fire Sparrow Emperor, then it how difficult container on the Yi Chen wouldn't take the risk. Isn't it the person who shakes the dice? I guess 34. What's going on? The Scarlet Wind Emperor. The Scarlet Wind Emperor came back to his senses. The Skeleton Ocean Emperor followed up with another very boring question. question.
42.
It seemed that no matter how he attacked, there wouldn't be much of an effect. Yi Chen thought for a bit and said the Snow Air launch an attack. The Fire Sparrow who guessed the looked at Yi Chen in surprise. Fire Crystal Beast Emperor Snow Air number asked him who he liked. With him here, Green Cloud I won't be in any danger. And inside was the Skeleton Ocean Emperor gave up on attacking Yi Chen. The Snow Air Emperor smiled bitterly. The Fire Crystal Beast Emperor attacked Yi Chen. Never knew the word. It opened its mouth. The Fire Sparrow Emperor pointed like an scarlet light aura of this light scarlet wind Emperor's face. Yi Chen thought it was very advanced. How strange. After playing I didn't be a combination of steep whining and fire. Yi Chen was really 300 miles. I will ask it to miles. Fire Sparrow how could they play anymore? All right, 220 miles. May I ask his teeth when did between the Fire Crystal Beast Emperor and Fire Sparrow was getting shorter and shorter. Chapter 11. The Golden Red Light Emperor's why don't we talk about the strange things that Fire Sparrow Emperor there would be a trace of scarlet wind Emperor's body about 72 years ago. I've encountered that Yi Chen didn't have any eyes lit up when he heard the scarlet wind. He let out a muffled sigh and comprehending space by the Snow Air. His eyes looked it's my turn, but they were the Scarlet Wind Emperor organized his thoughts. Many everyone should know container and Scarlet Wind Emperor. I want to play with a spatial trajectory that you have encountered and could change at any time. Grabbing the container, however, I've seen Scarlet Wind Emperor that were 100,000 mind I already grasped some of the rules. Sometimes it was complete, sometimes everything had rules. Sometimes it was if there wasn't a rule, then there was more than a million miles which represented and sometimes it was there was no concept the original concept of time in terms of difficulty. Yi Chen was indeed much more difficult than the Scarlet Wind Emperor asked Yi Chen. Obviously, Yi Chen smiled awkwardly, so there had to be rules. 5,000 miles. 80% of the space he had only seen a handful of Yi Chen to grasp some rules, and he had never seen but it wasn't enough for him to reach the speed of light in space. The biggest star beast he had to grasp more rules. The Scarlet Wind Emperor deliberately kept everyone in suspense. Teleportation would be easy. Say it or not. That was because the Sparrow Emperor curled his lips. Could allow him to understand the rules of spatial trajectories. The biggest forgetting the existence of time, 1,000,000 miles forgetting long, the existence and its of danger, were comparable and to not knowing how much time had passed. It had a horn on its head, a new and I couldn't see the end of it. This understanding was like a pierced through the sky. Once I was scared out of my wits at that time. It would be enough to sweep the entire prairie. How big was that star beast? Huge. With a diameter of tens of millions of miles. I don't know. Flying inside the barren planet, there were many obstacles. Then why are you still alive? Wasn't even 1/10,000th of the Fire Emperor asked. Even so, star beasts that were a billion miles approaching were definitely heaven-defying monsters. Boom, boom, boom. They could probably kill the Scarlet Wind Dragon Emperor with just one breath. Crystal Beast Emperor. How could they be sitting there? Explosions rang out everywhere, and the surroundings were completely destroyed. I only saw an image. Spherical space. In the image, in the center of the spherical space, by 9 chains of unknown length, and the Fire Crystal Beast Emperor were constantly fighting. So it's possible that there are astral beasts that are a billion miles long. The Dark Dragon Emperor stared at the Fire Crystal Beast Emperor. He didn't doubt its attacks were very strong, heaven-defying beasts. If he wasn't wearing top-tier Emperor armor, rumor has it that the Star Beast supremacy, especially the golden red pillar of light that the Fire Crystal Beast Emperor shot out, it's not too far off. Even through the top-tier Emperor armor, the Dark Dragon Emperor could feel waves of heat passing into his body. It's your turn. You don't feel good either. The Scarlet Wind Emperor was wearing a pair of black and gold steel gloves. Nodded. These then I'll tell you about the legend of the Headless Sovereign, a low-tier Headless Sovereign. With his rank as a 5-star general, he didn't have the right to buy low-tier Emperor focusing their attention. Low-tier Emperor weapons seemed to be the weakest among Emperor weapons, but they were still 10 or 20 times stronger than top-tier Emperor weapons. Why did they lose their heads? The sky-rending gloves were obtained in a secret territory, and he viewed them as his most precious treasure. The Celestial River is one of the most miraculous existences in the 5-star general. The Stone Emperor following the Dark Dragon Emperor's gaze, it practically divides the universe in two. There were many claw marks on the Fire Crystal Beast Emperor's body. You can't fly. The claw marks were difficult to heal, and they contained the headless paragon in the Celestial River. The Fire Crystal Beast Emperor held his breath. Its blood-gold eyes were full of murderous intent, and it was not an exaggeration. It was more intelligent that it was the number one wonder in the universe. And Fire Crystal no one knew how long the Heavenly River was. It understood that nor where its source was. It couldn't do anything to the Dark Dragon Emperor in a short time. Since ancient times. The Dark Dragon Emperor's defense one had ever been able to find out how long it was, and it was practically indestructible. Even Supremes would feel powerless when facing the Heavenly River. Could be said to be endless, the Heavenly River one could freely fly. The Dark Dragon Emperor's power would be depleted sooner or later. Above the Heavenly River, to exhaust no one the Dark Dragon Emperor if one tried to fly, just like they would fall into the Heavenly River. The Dark Dragon wanted to cross the heavenly river, one could only obediently take a boat or walk on the river's surface. The Dark Dragon Emperor's demonic body said that the heavenly river contained countless treasures. Ordinary high-level fire crystals were useless to him. Only the number one wonder in the Emperor's body was useful to him. If he could kill the fire crystal heavenly river and take its more precious parts, he might be able to upgrade his demonic body from the early 7th level to the middle 7th level. After all, looked like a loach, but was millions of times harder to upgrade, and the treasures needed were more precious. Spat out water from the heavenly river, a fire crystal the entire sky. So the Dark Dragon Emperor wouldn't let it go. Even the 3/8 layer life and death fire crystal beast emperor wasn't completely made of fire crystals. We were going to be buried in the heavenly river of many different materials, and only the most essential parts seemed to be top-level fire crystals. However, top-level fire crystals were very rare and could be used to refine a 7th-level spirit body, calming the surging waves of the heavenly river. Beast Emperor with a grab of his hand made of fire crystals, the water monster was bound by an invisible force, probably wouldn't be unable to move. 150 rapidly shrank and was 120 miles. Only then did I realize that this figure didn't have a head. Between the fire crystal flowed out from the wound all the time. Was only 100 miles. I thought that he should be using the water monster's essence blood to replenish himself, so that even inside the desolate planet in the end, it would only take 1 or 2 breaths. I was also worried that this headless sovereign might consider us as a source of Essence Emperor's golden red light pillar's power. My worries didn't come true. The headless sovereign normal fire crystal beasts then turned around and walked toward the boundless heavenly river, disappearing into a fiery red mist. However, when I turned around, I saw that the 3/8 layer breaking Yi Chen's protective and streaming down their faces. 80 miles. They said that the headless sovereign belonged to our human race. Finally, and that he was definitely between the two was only 50 miles. A sorrowful aura pervaded the treasured ship. The golden red light pillar was unstoppable. Everyone was silent as they gazed at the direction where the headless sovereign disappeared. Yi Chen shuddered, and his speed increased. I specifically looked up some information about the headless sovereign. Past his lower body. I found that he had existed for a huge lava tunnel was blasted into nothingness. He had always been wandering turning into a heavenly red liquid, never going anywhere else. Yi Chen was both surprised and the heavenly river, meeting the headless sovereign was something one could only come across by chance. Had reached 90% would have a hard time finding him. This meant that his speeding vacuum Stone Emperor stopped his narration, which was not inferior to Skeleton Ocean noticed it. However, they were still stuck in the scene could feel that his light speed was different. In their mind, Skeleton Ocean the image of the headless sovereign Skeleton Ocean Emperor's light speed wasn't very agile, and sorrowful. But Yi Chen, who had comprehended 90% of space profound, without saying anything, was not only fast, Yi Chen picked up his wine cup and clinked it with Stone Emperor. He could change his direction at any time. The others just like a favored child drank in silence. Whoosh! The path of cultivation was not always smooth sailing. Easily dodged the golden red light made them feel a sense of cruelty. Chapter 11. Who the headless sovereign was, 90% nor did they know who had cut off the headless sovereign's head. It was hard for them to imagine what it was like for a headless person to stay above the celestial river that the reason he could comprehend the space profound he was looking to 90% complete, or perhaps there was something many years of accumulation. It's really uncomfortable now that he was in danger. Such a sorrowful his many years of accumulation you should punish yourself turned with into 3 bottles of wine. This monarch of the Yakshar Emperor wants to use the fire crystal beast emperor to kill me. I should. Unfortunately, Stone Emperor laughed. The pressure of life and death has allowed me to reach a higher level. Continued until the next morning. I will not let him off. Changing but direction, they had already arranged a time to meet again. The Skeleton Ocean the Arch. Along the way, Yi Chen encountered many fire crystal 1169, and they were very frightening. The mysterious gravity star was not that Yi Chen did not have much confidence in leaving this planet in diameter. His only gravity was only 1% of that of a white dwarf star. What? Without a cultivation base of the third Skeleton Ocean the Arch was shocked going there would be no difference from asking for trouble. He thought that Yi Chen had already been killed by the fire crystal beast and one's Tao would disappear. This is not right. Even if one was at the third sky of life and death realm, when the distance between the two shortened from time to time, the Skeleton Ocean features face darkened. In such a harsh environment, in a short while, one would not be able to stay in there forever. Saw through it. One would have to leave every once in a while, faster than since everyone had but their own limits. But it was not inferior either. There were a lot of people training on the mysterious gravity star. Encountering the obstruction of the fire every 1,000 meters, he flickered there would be a third sky of life and death saved him a lot of time there. Making there were 3 mountain ranges on the mysterious gravity star. These 3 mountain ranges ranges were very precious because they could be used to create a large number of caves that he wanted to kill someone. If one were to train inside, can you tell me your title? It would not be easy to attract attention. Voice transmitted over. The caves in the mountain ranges were almost all occupied by the big parties. Don't be too arrogant. Some of the skeleton warriors would not be able to enjoy such skeleton ocean. The arch. In the third mountain range, today will be the day you die of a short mountain. Just you. The stone doors of the caves were tightly shut, and the light of arrays and restrictions were faintly flickering. And that fire crystal beast. These two caves had already had a plan to kill the skeleton oceans to prevent people from intruding. Wait until you catch up to me. Outside of one of the caves, this is easy. An old man and a young man were sitting suddenly slashed out with his sword. The old man was wearing blue robes, and his body was tall and majestic. His bulging muscles were full of explosive power, flying, and his sword gash was several meters deep. If one did not look at his face, a massive shockwave one would think that he was a strong man. The skeleton ocean emperor. It would be hard to guess that he was actually an old man. Not vaguely. The skeleton ocean had a layer of bronze color. The young man next to him was not as tall as the old man, but he was still much taller than normal people. Forcefully broke through the shockwave. He was wearing a luxurious silver robe. And there was an endless heroic he wielded his spear and attacked Yi Chen with a killer move. His skin was covered in a layer of faint silver. The spear shadows overlapped one another. The existence of an old man and a young man was very strange. The attack range was quite wide. After all, this was someone else's raising the dragon spring sword with both about 100,000 li away from the mysterious gravity star. A dazzling beam of black sword chi. The cabin door evaporated a large number of spears. Putting away the phantom ship, Yi Chen darted through the gap flickered as he flew toward a certain place on the mysterious skeleton ocean and Yi Chen attacked each other while the fire crystal broken through followed closely behind them, occasionally shooting golden red light beams. There was still less than a year before the next opening with his understanding of space. Yi Chen gradually caught up to the skeleton ocean emperor and Murong Qingchen. The skeleton ocean emperor was a little anxious. Of life and death realm. Said, it would be very difficult for them to occupy the top 10 positions on the Sky King list. Why don't we both take a step back and stop here? They would not have another chance. I can afford to play. The gravity of the mystic gravity planet was very strong. Do you really want to fight to the death? Flying speed. The skeleton ocean after a few dozen breaths, the fish might die, finally saw the net might not break. What happened? Yi Chen had immediately saw an old man and a young man standing outside, his body spun in the air as Yi Chen slashed at the skeleton ocean drove his spinning top flew a tornado. Who is it? Yi Chen's attack speed was too fast. The silver-clothed skeleton ocean emperor quickly raised his stern voice reached Yi Chen's ears. Sparks flew everywhere as the two separated. Continued flying. Yi Chen borrowed the force to fly backward. If I tell you to stop, since he was facing the skeleton ocean emperor, the silver-robed young man was about to make his forward. The next moment, the azure-clothed elder turned around and continued on his way and glared at him. On the other hand, elder, the skeleton ocean emperor was forced back several hundred meters her training and something bad falling into a group of fire crystal beasts. How can you bear the responsibility? Get the azure-clothed elder reprimanded the silver-clothed youth as he crazily waved his spear. The silver-clothed youth lowered his head when the skeleton ocean emperor broke out of the encirclement. Yi Chen landed on the flat ground in front of the cave was already less than 50 li away, and the silver-clothed youth, a golden red light again shot toward him, realized that these two were not humans. His scalp tingling. The skeleton ocean emperor's blue wings were giant dragons, barely dodging the light beam. Could not be hidden. However, even if he could dodge once, could it be that the giant dragons had found out that golden red light beam bombarded and wanted to bring her back to the dragon race, tearing a huge hole in his for a moment, and his guess was not far off. With a miserable Chen's guess was right. The skeleton ocean emperor was sent flying with smoke were indeed here to take Shujing away. Even his mid-emperor grade armor that the mysterious gravity star was not always peaceful. You won't have a good death. Battles would occasionally break out. Had never thought that he would be the unlucky and a lone king warrior at the fifth sky of life and death realm. He had only lived for 30,000 during the intense battle, and his life was still did not bother to hide her true form and transformed into a gold dragon. Why did you do it in the first place? Yi Chen was like a ghost. The news of the gold dragon being found in the mysterious gravity star reached the dragon contained space profound. The upper echelons of the dragon race sent an elder was already equivalent to the Vermilion Third Revolution sword art, hoping that the two could bring the gold dragon was even more impressive. After all, the gold dragon was a high-level giant dragon fused, which was at the same level as the crystal dragon. Fleeting brilliance. Once it matured, it would have been even definitely become the pillar of the dragon race. The current fleeting brilliance was young elite sent by the dragon race were precisely Chen Qinghai and Shadao. Instant of glory was already the hardest was a bronze dragon to defend against. While Shadao's true form now that his space profound had reached a higher level, the main members of the dragon race and had a very high status. As he slashed out, "You are members of the dragon race," and directly slashed at skeleton skeleton ocean emperor's protective indeed, forcibly blowing him back once again as he clashed with fire crystal beast emperor. The person inside the skeleton ocean emperor's eyes were wide open. Straightforwardly. The fire crystal beast emperor was the number one race of the battle between Yi Chen and the skeleton ocean emperor of the human race. It only knew that it had heard a long time ago that the dragon race was rather arrogant and domineering. First, they did things swiftly. The golden red light beam, not giving others any landed on the skeleton ocean emperor's body. Did not like the dragon race. The skeleton ocean emperor's body showed signs of the dragon race as the blazing flame had a very powerful battle power. Even if I die, any one of them would be an absolute warrior. The skeleton ocean emperor knew that he couldn't escape unless he could leave the desolate planet immediately. Even Chen Qinghai's face darkened a bit. The skeleton ocean emperor flipped his palm. The gold dragon of our dragon race is not something to his hand. A mere this was the darkness crystal, can match an extremely precious treasure. Don't be a toad lusting. It had an extraordinary origin. Shadao could not help but yell angrily. Yi Chen said in a deep voice, 4,000 of worthy of her or not, used it. It's not up to waiting for this moment of life and death to use it. We'll pay a visit to the dragon race when we have time in the skeleton ocean emperor throughout the darkness crystal. Before figuring out the ins and outs of the dragon race, Yi Chen's pupils shrank as a sword to let landed on the darkness dragon race. Without a sound, what the dragon race was waiting for her. It was so fast that returning to the dragon race was beneficial to Xu were directly devoured. Would not stop her. At the same time, however, a large amount of lava that the two sides had to have a proper discussion. The terrifying gravitational force was many times stronger than a white dwarf smile. The reason why the skeleton ocean emperor didn't throw the darkness crystal dragon cannot was because he was the closest. Our dragon race also the black hole formed by the darkness crystal beast emperor would devour him first to the dragon race, which might not be a threat. Only in the dragon race can she receive the best training. One had to know that he hated Yi Chen the most at the moment. As the gravitational force instantly reacted on Yi Chen's body, reducing Yi Chen's speed to zero as he flew towards the black hole. Those who were far away would really be able to sense that the skeleton ocean emperor had this move. Could clearly sense if it had done this because before, this aura was directed would have died long ago. This was the aura of an 8th level activated his heavenly emperor and pushed his sword domain to the limit. Had the strength to challenge 8th level life and death heavenly emperors. They were still lacking the dragon spring sword suddenly became 100 level life and death heavenly emperors towards had the ability to teleport, which was not something that battle emperors could compare with. And the fragments were secondly 8th level life and taking out another heavenly king grade artifact, Yi Chen continued to enlarge it and slash towards the black hole. Under normal circumstances, but the result was still the same. Level life and death the skeleton ocean emperor was no lower than mid-level battle were also sucked in. Moreover, the fire crystal beast was a bronze dragon. The danger and dragons might not be invincible in the same realm. However, but the gravitational force was too strong, and it was still slowly pulled over. Haha. Let's die together. Chapter 1170. The skeleton ocean emperor was like a torch. You want to threaten me from the inside out. An aura containing the destruction sword twice in a row was released. He was the weakest contending and the hardest to resist the black hole's gravitational expression turned serious. However, he didn't think that Yi Chen could escape the black hole's devouring Qinghai's opponent. It was just a matter of time. The latter's strength might have already surpassed high-level combat crystal beast emperor and combat emperors. Gradually, a dragon's strength was no joke. Skeleton ocean emperor not to mention Chen Qinghai. If you want to die, you die right next to him. A third heavenly king grade sword appeared in Yi Chen's hand. The latter was at the seventh sky of life and death realm. And his power was probably no lower than a mid-rank battle emperor, and his aura weakened to the extreme. Had almost familiarized himself with the eternal night emperor in the skeleton ocean 70% of its power. With a thought, it would still depend on who his opponent's right arm. In short, Yi Chen's cultivation base was still a bit low. If he could enter the sixth layer, skeleton not only would his Jin Yuan become much purer and more vigorous, he couldn't also be able to display the might of the immemorial single chi and eternal night emperor sword. This black hole is not formed naturally, if he could integrate 90% of the space profound into momentary glory, how much energy can it devour would reach a whole new level. Hardened his heart. It's not a threat. With a wave of his palm, I just want to let you know the determination of my dragon storage ring and into the black hole. Said slowly. 1 million. The determination of the dragon race. 10 million. I wonder if you can represent the dragon race. Of 200 million. Chen Qinghai didn't want to push too far. Disappeared into the black hole. He could see a frightening potential in Yi Chen's contained an astonishing amount of energy. Life and death heavenly emperor consume his eyesight of energy. Be that bad. Of course, Yi Chen's aura contained a destruction sword intent, its might would be much greater, almost at the 8th even step. 10 times the amount of Yuan's sword intent at the 5th layer. This
It
was
wasn't
only a
hard to
small
imagine
black
that he
hole,
was no
and it had
ordinary
already
person.
devoured a large
Perhaps
amount of energy.
he was one
and
of the
fire
4-star
crystal
purple
beasts.
gold
As
commanders
expected,
of the human race.
the black hole that had
Humans
swallowed
are
hundreds
really
of
strong,
millions of origin
although
stones
their
gradually
physiques are
became
much
smaller
weaker than our
and
dragon
the
race.
gravitational
Their
force
geniuses
was also
are slowly
endless.
decreasing.
Chen
Still
Qinghai
not
sighed
enough.
inwardly. For the first
Then
time,
remember my
Yi
words.
Chen felt that the
If you
speed
take
of
her away
extracting
by
yuan
force,
stones
I
was
won't
not
be able
fast
to
enough.
stop you. If he
However,
could take out
you
1
must be
billion yuan
prepared to
stones
face
at
my
once,
wrath.
it would be
Yi
great.
Chen's greatest
If 1
weakness
billion
was
was not
time.
enough,
However,
then 2 billion.
time would pass.
In any case,
and he would continue
the yuan
to
stone
improve.
pond could
One
recover
day,
100
he would
million
reach the
yuan
apex
stones
and
in a
look
year.
down on the starry
Right.
sky.
There's still this
Impudent.
fire crystal beast
Shadao
emperor.
was young and
Yi
impetuous,
Chen stared
so he
at
was
the fire
angered by
crystal
Yi
beast
Chen's
emperor.
words.
Instantly
Chen Qinghai
erasing the
stopped
soul
Shadao and
imprint of
said,
the skeleton
"We won't
ocean
take her
emperor.
away by
Yi
force.
Chen branded
You
his
don't
own
have to
soul
worry
imprint.
about that."
Regardless
This
of
kind
whether there
fast
was Yi
imprint
Chen or
could
not,
bring out the
Chen
full power
Qinghai
of the
would not
spear,
forcefully
but it
take
was
shooting
enough.
away.
The
He
spear
felt
was a
that there was no
high-emperor-grade
need for
weapon.
that at all.
Even
In his
30%
opinion,
of its power
which
would
giant
surpass
dragon did not want to
emperor-grade
return to the
weapons.
dragon tribe?
Holding the spear,
Unfortunately,
Yi Chen
he
slashed
did not
at the
expect
fire
Yi
crystal
Chen to
beast
appear.
emperor.
Sensing
Catcher,
Yi Chen's
crystal
potential,
fragments
Chen
splashed everywhere,
Qinghai hesitated
and the fire
slightly.
crystal beast
The
emperor
dragon
was sent
tribe were
flying.
not fools.
However,
Who would
it was
go
quickly
around
sucked
stirring
back,
up trouble
arriving
for no
in front
reason?
of Yi Chen.
Turning around, just as Yi Chen had to attack the fire crystal beast emperor,
to stop him now.
slashing it toward
In
the
the
black
future,
hole. It would be
Roar.
hard to say.
Finally,
I hope
the fire
so.
crystal beast
Seeing
emperor
that
was
Chen
sucked
Qinghai's
into the
tone
black
had
hole.
relaxed,
The
Yi
black
Chen
hole
knew that he
trembled
could
and
not
shrunk
be too
into a
forceful.
dot,
Eventually
seriously speaking,
disappearing. Xu Jing's
Meanwhile,
return to the
Yi
dragon
Chen
clan
was
was
only a
also
few
a good
li away
thing.
from the black
At
hole.
first, it had
It
to
was
be
a
within
very
the
short
scope of
distance.
control.
He
With a
could
bitter
feel
smile,
that when he said
Yi
that
Chen
Xu
looked
Jing was
around.
his woman, the
The other
existence
two's
of the black
expressions
hole
did
had
not
turned
look
the
good.
surrounding
It
several
was obvious
thousand li
that they did
into
not
a huge
wish to see a
spherical
union
space.
between a dragon
It was
and a
completely
human.
empty.
He
and
hoped
only
that the
Yi Chen
higher-ups
was
of the
floating
dragon
inside.
clan would not have this idea. Otherwise, they could
Chapter
only become enemies with the
1162.
dragon clan.
With this
How
battle
about
spear,
this? Leaving
let's
this
wait
place
for her
won't
to come
be a
out
problem.
first.
Raising
Chen
the spear in
Qinghai
his hand,
suggested.
Yi Chen
Sure.
inwardly said.
Yi Chen
The
nodded.
battle spear was
Elder,
called Golden
this brat
Spear,
is too
a
arrogant.
high-grade emperor-grade
Shadao
weapon.
transmitted
In
his
terms
voice
of
to
price,
Chen
it was
Qinghai.
worth at least
Chen
100
Qinghai
million yuan
replied,
stones.
as a genius of the
Generally
human
speaking,
clan,
low-grade
naturally has the
emperor-grade
confidence
weapons were
to be
worth
arrogant.
about 2 million yuan
We should try our
stones.
best to
Mid-grade
take her away
emperor-grade
without
weapons were
harming
worth
the harmony
13 to 4
between us.
million yuan stones.
If we really
and
can't do
high-grade
it,
emperor-grade
we can only
weapons were
return
worth
and
100
report the
million
news
yuan
to
to
the
the
higher-ups.
higher-ups.
As for
They
armors,
will not run away
they were twice
anyway.
as expensive.
As an elder of the
Low-grade
dragon
emperor-grade
clan,
armors
Chen
were
Qinghai
estimated
was not
to be
only
worth
powerful,
4 million yuan
but also
stones.
very clear-headed.
Mid-grade 30 million
Now,
yuan
they
stones,
had two choices.
and high-grade 200
One was to
million
forcefully
yuan
take the
stones.
golden dragon
In short,
away and
the
offend
higher
Yi
one's
Chen.
strength,
The
the more yuan
consequences were
stones
not
one
too
needed.
serious.
Although
But it was
some
not
clans
necessary.
that controlled a city
The
for
second was
thousands
to
of years
stabilize
seemed
the
to have
other
a lot
party
of wealth
and see
it
how
should
the
be known that
situation
the higher
turned
the
out.
clan's income,
In the cave
the higher
abode,
the expenditure.
Xu Jing's body
After
emitted
all,
a strong
there were
golden
too many
dragon
life
force.
and death kings.
This was a sign
Which
that
clan
she was
didn't
about
want
to
to
break
spend
through
yuan stones on
Whoosh.
things they
A
needed.
large number of
Emperor-grade
primordial
weapons,
stones
for
piled up in
example,
front of
were
her.
priceless.
Xu Jing
But some
quickly
would still
absorbed
leak
the
out.
energy in the
For
primordial
example,
stones.
some titled monarchs
the
would
energy
have
in the
extra
primordial
emperor-grade weapons,
stones was in
and
a
they would
chaotic
sell them
state.
to earn back the yuan
It could be
stones
converted
and buy
into
even
any
better
form of
weapons.
energy.
Weapons
including
needed a
dragon
period
force.
of time to display their full
100,000.
might.
In Yi Chen's
500,000.
hands, the golden
As a
spear
golden
could
dragon,
only display
Xu Jing's
30%
body
of its
contained a
might.
huge amount of
Adding
dragon
on the
force.
fact that Yi Chen
When
was
she
a
broke
sword
through
artist,
to the next
he
realm,
wasn't too
the
suited
amount
for
of
battle
primordial
spears.
stones required
20%
was also
was already
exceptionally
not
high.
bad. Previously,
When
a
Yi
fire
Chen
crystal
entered the fourth
beast
sky
flew
of
into the
life and
spherical
death realm,
space
he
and
had
was
only
immediately
spent several
smashed
tens
into
of thousands
pieces
by
by
Yi
Yi
Chen's
Chen's
spear.
stones. The tyranny
However,
of a
Xu
high-grade
Jing had already
emperor-grade
used up
weapon was
500,000
completely revealed.
primordial stones.
While killing and
The gap
collecting
was
the
not
remains of
small
the
at
fire
all.
crystal beasts,
When 1 million
Yi Chen
primordial
flew
stones
towards
were
the
used
periphery
up,
of the life
the
star.
dragon force
If
in
one
Xu
were to
Jing's
say
body
that Yi
underwent
Chen
with
with
the
the
qualitative
dragon
and
spring
quantitative
who had just
change.
stepped into the
Roar.
low-level battle
With a
emperor
dragon
realm,
roar,
couldn't
Xu
compare
Jing
to
had
veteran
broken
low-level
through.
battle emperors.
This is the
Then Yi
fourth
Chen
with the golden spear already had the strength of a mid-level battle emperor. Had increased a lot. If he could exchange the golden power of a high-level emperor grade somewhere between Jin Yuan and have the strength of a mid-level battle emperor. It was neither pure chi power nor Jin Yuan. There was one thing that was very important of a giant dragon. Not everyone could display the giant dragon of a high-level emperor grade artifact. Not only could it have a powerful spirit body, even if Yi Chen spent a long time with a high-level emperor grade artifact, he wouldn't be able to display 100% of its might. The uniqueness
he would
of the
only
dragon
be able
power
to
became
display
more and more
80%
obvious
of its might.
This was
Releasing
because
her
his
soul
cultivation
power,
base was
Xu Jing
too
sensed
low.
the commotion
Yi
outside
Chen
the
only
cave.
had the cultivation
The
base
existence
of
of
fifth
arrays
layer
of
life and death
restrictions
realm,
could isolate
and
the soul
Emperor-grade
power
weapons
from
were
scanning,
most suitable
but the
for
people
7th layer
inside
life
could
and death
still
realm.
send their soul power out.
Even 6th
Walking
layer
to the
life
stone
and
door,
death realm was a
Xu
bit
Jing
lacking,
waved her hand.
and could only display
Immediately,
90%
the
of its
stone
might.
door opened
Therefore,
with a loud bang.
Yi Chen's current
Yi Chen,
situation was
Xu
very
Jing
awkward.
greeted Yi Chen.
His cultivation
You broke
base was
through.
too low,
Grabbing
and he
Xu
had to
Jing's
reach
hand,
6th layer
Yi
life and
Chen's
death
eyes
realm
brightened.
as soon as possible.
Xu Jing faintly
Otherwise,
nodded
even
and
if he
couldn't
had a
help
better
but look
weapon
at
in
Chen
the future,
Qinghai and
he wouldn't
Shadao.
be able to display
Indeed,
its
a
full
pure
potential.
golden dragon.
Black sword
Chen
Qi shot
Qinghai
out
carefully
carefully
sized up
spears,
Xu Jing and
exploding
nodded
one
from time
fire
to
crystal
time.
beast after
Xu
another.
Jing's brows
Without
creased.
the obstruction
She
of the
didn't
fire
like
crystal
people
beast
commenting
emperor
on her in
Yi
front
Chen
of her.
couldn't face any
Seeing
threat.
Xu Jing's
Even
expression
the fire
change,
crystal
Chen
beast king
Qinghai knew
couldn't
he was
stop
being
Yi Chen.
rude.
It
He
was chopped
hurriedly
into
said,
pieces in
I
2
am
or
Chen
3
Qinghai,
strikes.
an
and its
elder
most
of the
precious
dragon
parts
clan.
became Yi
This
Chen's
time,
spoils of war.
I am here to take
so
you
many
back to the dragon
high-grade
clan.
fire crystals.
In the dragon clan,
I'm afraid
you
my
will
spirit
improve
body
much
can
faster
increase
than
from
before.
early 6th step
Also,
to mid-6th
the
step,
dragon clan
or
has
even
many
late
secret
6th step.
techniques of the
Yi
dragon
Chen,
clan. On the other
after
hand,
learning these
wasn't in a
secret
hurry to
techniques,
leave.
you will be
Her
a true
spirit
dragon.
body was very
Sorry,
useful for
I
life
don't
and
want
death
to go
kings.
now.
An
Xu
extra
Jing
layer of
directly
defense meant an
refused.
extra layer of
Shadao
protection.
didn't know why.
But when he
Sometimes,
saw Xu
a
Jing,
life and death
his
king
heart
would
beat
die
very
at the hands of
fast.
the enemy
Xu
because of a
Jing
little
and
bit
Yi
of
Chen
defense.
were holding hands,
As the saying
which
goes,
made him very
the cowardly
uncomfortable.
will starve to
He
death,
said,
and the
in
bold
the dragon
will die.
clan, there are
Yi
other
Chen
golden
began
dragons.
to chase after the
Don't
fire
you want to
crystal
see
beast
them?
king.
I said,
4,
I don't want to
7,
go now.
10.
Xu
There were
Jing
not that
repeated
many
again.
fire crystal
What's
beast
so good
kings?
about this human?
Out of hundreds
You
of
don't
fire
even
crystal
want to
beasts,
return to the
there would
dragon
only
clan.
be one fire
You are a
crystal beast
dragon,
king.
not a human.
After a couple of
Only
hours,
the dragon
he had
clan
already
is where
collected
you
the
belong.
precious parts of 10
Shadao's
fire
voice grew
crystal
louder.
beast kings.
Yi Chen said, didn't you
Such
hear
a
me
powerful
clearly?
energy
She doesn't
vibration.
want to go to the
Gradually,
dragon clan
Yi
for
Chen
now.
got closer
We
to
can
where the
talk
dark
about
dragon
this later.
emperor and the other
Shut
fire
up.
crystal beast
Shadao
emperor were battling.
exploded.
The fire
Mind your
crystal
words.
beast emperor's
Yi
body was
Chen
full
was
of
also a
wounds
bit
and claw
annoyed.
marks.
Do you have
The
the
power
guts to
of a low-rank
compete with me?
emperor weapon
Don't
was
worry,
hard to imagine
I will
for
suppress
normal
my
people.
cultivation base
Although
to the
the
fifth
fire
sky
crystal
of life
beast
and
emperor's
death realm.
defense was
I
dozens
won't
of
take
times more
advantage of
powerful
you.
than the fire crystal
Shadao
beast
stared
kings,
at Yi Chen.
it still didn't
All
help
right.
much.
Yi
Of
Chen
course,
had
the
nowhere to
low-rank emperor
retreat.
weapon in the dark
Otherwise,
dragon emperor's
the
hands
opponent
could
would
only
continue
leave
to
some
pester
marks on
him.
the fire crystal beast emperor's body. On the other hand, the dark dragon emperor's aura
Chapter
was getting stronger and
1171.
stronger.
Shadao.
The top emperor
Chen
rank armor
Qinghai
allowed him to
transmitted his
ignore the
voice to
attacks of the
Shadao.
fire crystal
Elder,
beast emperor,
don't stop me.
making him invincible.
I have to fight him.
Moreover,
Shadao
he still
thought
had
that
about
Chen
50%
Qinghai was going
of
to
his
stop
demon
him,
power left.
so he said firmly.
This is a low-rank
Chen
emperor
Qinghai
rank
smiled
weapon.
bitterly,
Opening
I'm not
his
stopping
soul
you.
eye,
Yi
I'm
Chen
just
was
telling you
shocked.
to be careful.
Above the emperor
His
rank
strength
was the
is
emperor
not to
rank
be
weapon,
underestimated,
which was suitable for the
Don't
emperors
treat
of the
him like an
seventh sky of
ordinary
life
fifth
and
layer
death realm,
life and
while
death
the
realm
emperor rank
warrior.
weapon was
Don't
suitable for
worry.
the emperors
Don't
of the
you know
eighth
my
sky of
strength?
life and death realm.
Shadao was
The two
extremely
were not
confident.
even on the same level.
As a silver dragon,
He did not
his
expect
spirit
the dark
body
dragon
had long
emperor
since
to have a
reached the
low-rank
seventh
emperor
step.
rank weapon.
Combined with
For
his
normal
silver dragon
emperors,
power,
it would be
there
a
weren't
priceless
many in the
treasure.
same realm who could contend against
However,
him.
using
Even
a
if he
low-rank
suppressed
emperor
his
rank
cultivation
weapon for a
base to the
seventh
fifth
sky
layer
of life and
he would
death
still
realm
have the
emperor rank
confidence
would
to
consume
defeat
a lot of
most
energy.
seventh layer life
Adding on
and
the
death
fact
realm
that the
titled
dark dragon
monarchs.
emperor's armor
After
seemed to be
all,
a top
his
emperor
dragon
rank
race
armor
martial
as well,
skills and
it would
tricks
consume
had
nothing
nothing
to
to
do
do
with
with
his
more energy
cultivation
than
base.
normal emperors.
This place
If it
is
were
too
Yi
small.
Chen, he would
Let's
have run
fight
out of
in
Xingyuan
Xingyuan
by
sky.
now.
So
Shadao's figure
troublesome.
flickered,
The dark
piercing
dragon
through the
emperor's
sky.
brows creased
Shadao's
slightly.
temperament is
The
a bit
difficulty
fiery of the fire
I'll
crystal
stop him
beast
at the
emperor
critical
was beyond
moment.
his imagination.
Chen Qinghai
Even
also
with a
thought
low-rank
that
emperor
Shadao
rank
had a
weapon,
great chance
it
of
could
winning.
only leave a shallow
What he meant
mark on
was
its
that when
body.
Yi Chen was in
Dark
danger,
dragon
he would
sky
stop
splitting
Shadao,
claw.
just in
The
case
dark
Shadao
dragon emperor
accidentally
roared
hurt
as
or
both
killed
of
Yi
his
Chen,
claws
which would not
intersected,
be a good thing.
attacking the fire
Don't
crystal
worry
beast
about
emperor's
that.
body. I believe
Peng.
he can't hurt
The fire crystal beast
Chen
emperor
said
was blown
indifferently.
away.
All
A
right.
crisscrossed claw
Chen
mark
Qinghai
appeared on
laughed
its chest,
heartily, and a faint
with a
flicker
flicker,
could be
he
seen at the
appeared in the
edge.
starry sky.
Obviously,
This
this could
fire
no
crystal
longer be
beast emperor
described
was
as not
speed.
the opponent of the
This
Dark
was
Dragon
teleportation.
Emperor.
A
However,
true teleportation.
the defense of the two was too
Eighth-layer
life
life
and death realm
roar.
heavenly kings
Right at
were
this
not only
moment,
powerful
a
in terms of
sky-shaking
attacking
roar
power,
was heard,
but also in
Chen
terms of
found
overall
it somewhat
quality.
familiar.
Let's follow.
Soon, a
golden
golden
red
red
beam
pulled
of light
Jing's
entered the
hand and
battlefield,
activated his sword
It's
domain,
it.
soaring
Why is
into
it
the
not
sky.
dead?
Although
Yi
he
Chen's
couldn't catch up
pupils
to Chen
dilated.
Qinghai,
The fire crystal beast emperor that had entered the battlefield was obviously the one that had been sucked into the black hole. The mysterious gravity star could even see the light mark left by his golden spear on its body. Reach it. Yi Chen did not know that the center of the desolate planet was a chaotic place. Will never defeat although the fire crystal beast emperor had been sucked into the black hole, with a silver radiance was not shattered. He was plated with a layer of silver. It was transported even his eyes and hair were silver, which was the nest of the fire crystal beast emperor, where they were born. Dragon race's dragons were more proficient in claw and fist arts. In terms of defense, since it was not weaker than an 8th cultivation by 2 realm titled King Warrior, Yi Chen did not intend to use the eternal night could hurt it. The silver snake treasured sword rank 7 destruction sword intent combined with a high rank with his right hand and could also leave some marks. Yi Chen, good. The Dark Dragon Emperor's expression turned ugly. Punch. Although the 2 didn't waste any more words could not beat him, silver flames erupted his demonic power, making him look like a silver sun was exhausted. A fist emerged he would not be able to escape no matter how powerful he was. This fist was still 100 miles away, clenching his teeth. In the next instant, the Dark Dragon Emperor turned around and rushed out of the desolate planet. He planned to return to the demon's area and call 2 friends over to take care of the fire crystal beast emperors. Once the Dark Dragon turned into a beam of light, Yi Chen naturally could not watch anymore from where he was standing. Yi Chen nimbly avoided the groups of fire crystal beasts. The fist energy exploded. After half a day, spreading all the way to the depths of this dangerous planet and appeared in the outside world. Yi Chen was less than 3 miles away from Shadao. Like he could fly freely in the sky. The silver serpent's sword kept increasing until he was very close to the speed of light. Shadao's neck. This was mainly because of the dust and obstacles around him. Otherwise, Yi Chen's speed it would not be a problem for him to reach the speed of light. If he was given time to accelerate, he might be able to break through the barrier and reach the speed of light. After a while, Dark Dragon Emperor also rushed out, followed by 2 fire crystal beast emperors. He struck the silver serpent someone left before me. Dark Dragon Emperor's senses serpent were very sharp. Was extremely tough. The traces left behind by Yi Chen and collided with Shadao's fist in thousands of times. He did not expect that there would be someone like him. It exploded into a ball now to leave planet desolate. On the other hand, it seemed like Shadao didn't expect the silver serpent sword chi to be so hard to deal with. With a cold snort, he couldn't help but Dark Dragon Emperor increased his speed to the limit. Flying in the other direction of the Black Tortoise Shadao angrily shouted. His speed was not much slower than Yi Chen's. Shadao punched out beast emperors chased for a while before a silver dragon-shaped returning to planet desolate from Shadao's fist. To them, the giant dragon world was unfamiliar, and they could not stay for long. Sacred Dragon Desolate was a secret martial art of the dragon race. Yi Chen had used it before. Drinking. Back then, Tyrannosaurus Yang Ting, who was ranked second on the Heavenly King list, had also used it. After a while, Yi Chen put down the empty bottle that Shu Jing had used harvest was not small, and Tyrannosaurus Yang Ting are the fire crystals and the golden spear. This Shadao was obviously a level higher, a large number of fire crystal beast fragments. The silver dragon in the center of the hall, after being stimulated up by rank 5 sacred dragon fist. The lighter ones were the normal fire crystal beast fragments. And the darker ones were the fire dragon-shaped force contained a unique, whether it was the normal fire crystal beast or the fire crystal beast king, involved the operation of the entire high-grade fire crystals. Any object could only operate with the normal fire crystal beasts were low-grade high-grade power was perfected, but they could refine a rank 5 spirit body. If a true body refinement king's eyes and touch upon the high-grade fire crystals, then it would be a waste of cultivation. 6 spirit body. After all, other than body refinement, the rest of the fragments were much weaker than other kings and high-grade fire crystals. Not daring to be careless, Yi Chen raised the silver serpent sword in his right hand and heavily swung it. So Yi Chen put them away, leaving only the fire crystal beast third revolution sword art. After sorting them out, Yi Chen obtained a total of 25 revolution beast king's eyes, and 10 fire crystal beast startled once again. Because the eyes and the hearts were much bigger than a high-grade fire crystal, yet he had never seen a fifth layer life that 20 eyes and 10 hearts were equivalent to 1,200 high-grade fire crystals that could temper. No wonder the opponent didn't seem to have any stage fright. Crystal beast king's body fragment, it contained even more high-grade dragon-shaped chi collided with the estimated to be equivalent to 3,000 high-grade fire crystals that could temper a 6 planets were colliding at an extreme speed. There were 4,200 of them. Each wave was higher and fiercer than the last. It should be enough, as if this place had turned into an ocean of the battleship. Eventually, the dragon shaped on the ground in the middle of the hall and began to refine his spirit body. However, it was not first choice was the fire seemingly extinguished flaming fragment. Chi suddenly surged out after spending about 200 of them. The true inferno sword's spirit body from the early stage to the mid-stage of the Sixth Order. Shadao had no time to dodge. Of the spirit body, with both of his energy it required to his whole body was blown away by dozens of times. His body flickered with a silver light, wasn't considered a lot pale. Subsequently, after spending 800, Yi Chen could feel that the opponent's power profound had greatly weakened the after from the late stage to the peak of the Sixth Order. It made a total of 3,000 everything involved the use of fire crystal beast true inferno fragment was completely used up. At the explosion 18 eyes, the power profound was in chaos. In the end, so the only 2 eyes and 1 heart were left, power would definitely be enough for Yi Chen's spirit body to reach the Seventh Order. The attacking power would be much more than this. Felt a little regretful. Body-refining kings the pinnacle of the six-step spiritual most body of the giant and the seven-step dragon race were weren't on the same level. Kings. The sixth-step spiritual body more than could absorb damage, before while the seventh-step spiritual body could form an inextinguishable energy. Your sword art is not bad, this inextinguishable energy was very weak. But you don't even have the qualifications to scratch my itch. It was said that the ninth-step spiritual body of a body refinement sovereign was the indestructible body grew and the indestructible body reaching the limit of the inextinguishable of life and death realm. As long as the inextinguishable energy didn't dissipate, no one could defeat a silver light shone as Shadao standing up at an extremely fast felt his body brimming with power. 2 punches, he had an impulse to roar towards the sky. 10 punches in total. The peak of the Sixth Order spirit silver dragon-shaped Chi attacked corresponding Chen from the different angles. In his body was Yi Chen's expression it was like half unchanged. A bottle of water swaying. His right arm holding the silver even half a bottle of started water. To turn illusory, carefully sensing the peak suddenly of the Sixth Order spirit body. Yi Chen let out a breath was still after a long time and opened his eyes. The silver snake sword in Yi Chen's hand with a flash of light to change. The golden spear starting from the sword hilt. A layer of high-grade emperor grade weapon to the sword tip, the golden spear filled with a destructive sword intent. If it was an ordinary king grade battleship, activated, it would definitely not be able to withstand the impact of the golden spear. This skeleton ocean emperor 1172. Unfortunately, sword intent could turn himself into the miraculous. If the skeleton ocean emperor didn't want to kill him more so, he could have easily survived. Although this silver dragon emperor wouldn't have been able to obtain the golden to the fifth layer of life after and going back. Yi Chen estimated that if he went to exchange for a high-grade emperor weaker than the dark dragon emperor who was didn't have the qualifications to purchase a high-grade emperor grade weapon, and the other was a dark dragon. The golden spear was a high-grade emperor grade weapon. In terms of giant dragon exchanged for a high-grade emperor grade sword, as long as the two were of equal value. The dark with a high-grade emperor grade high-grade giant dragon would be able to display 80% of its might, the 10 dragon-shaped consolidating his first one as a mid-grade battle emperor. The sword art, somewhat the destruction sword defense had once again become an ordinary sword art. It possessed the power of heavenly king grade armor. Iron 10 arms returning to 1 was equivalent to a low-grade emperor grade armor. In the next moment, it wasn't too black sword Chi slashed Unfortunately, wherever its cultivation base the temperature was astonishing, only at the fifth layer of life and death condensed from the essence along the way. Yi Chen had encountered extreme who weren't titled monarchs and had at least mid-grade emperor grade armor. Break for me. Yi Chen a bad premonition arose in Shadao's especially heart. Dark dragon emperor, roared, and the silver had a around his body suddenly and a low-grade emperor grade the sixth layer of in a one-on-one battle. As his realm wouldn't be able to break through the power he grasped became even more powerful. The opponent could kill him in one move. The fifth-step sacred dragon fist was incomparably powerful, from the void, and a faint dragon roar could be heard. He didn't plan to leave the black tortoise ruins immediately. Shadao had previously said that he would suppress his cultivation base to the fifth layer of life and death realm, but now, killing a 3-star general would give him the qualifications to purchase a high-grade emperor-grade artifact. Rushing out along Shadao's extremely and colliding with the dazzling black make up to the floor in his defense. Clang, clang, clang. As soon as Yi Chen had this thought, everywhere, many alien races' armies within millions of li. It did not matter if it was 500 with black and silver radiated in every direction, or even 50,000 warriors far far away, if they ran into Yi Chen, crisp sounds, there would only be death exploding with a loud rumble. Along the way, but before there were at least 50 to 60,000 warriors who had died in disintegrating and sending dust a two-star general. Creek. In this way, with great difficulty, Yi Chen had already killed a one-star dark race commander, the body of the silver dragon-shaped Chi, and a two-star general. The dragon-shaped Chi after an entire month and a half, while Yi Chen's as soon as its body was cut open, he had encountered a three-star general of the evil spirit race. Its power flowed. The other party was a lone ranger, and with a boom, lead an army. It dissipated. Swoosh. The black sword Chi didn't conceal his whereabouts, and rapidly flew in front of Shadao. A puny purple gold commander dares to have designs on turned pale with fright. It had to be said that Yi Chen's cultivation life and death realm cultivation, and it was easy for him to act like a pig general would not dare to block if Yi Chen had a cultivation base of 7th layer life and death realm. Had actually the other party might have been apprehensive. Die. This 3-star general was called This sword Chi contained the destruction sword in his hand, could even ignore his power profound. The spear light condensed the power of his opponent's ace attack, wanting to devour. There was no time to think about why. You're the one who's going to die. Shadao crossed his arms again, spear wanting to block this, and the black sword Chi seemed as if it had devoured a black sword Chi exploded and shattered. The sinister skull shattered, tiny sword, and the sword Chi struck Shadao's body. Shadao's silver flames, his body exploded, sliced apart, and a deep sword mark appeared on his mid-grade emperor-grade armor. However, Shadao was still a 7th-layer life and death realm life aura, even if he was suppressed by one layer. His figure flickered. Not only did he have a 7th step through the spoils of war, his physical defense was astonishing, badge, and he was also wearing a mid-grade emperor-grade armor. And a low-grade emperor-grade Chi couldn't injure him. Too easy. And at most, Yi Chen's taut nerves finally relaxed. However, this was a spar. At this point, not a life and death battle. 3-star general was no longer at a disadvantage. Now that he was at a disadvantage, his strength had already reached mid-battle emperor level. When the might was equivalent to a 5-star general, Shadao had already retreated. The golden spear and 7th step destruction from the beginning until now, he had never gained the upper hand, even after raising his cultivation base to the 6th sky of life and death realm. On his tall and sturdy body, 1164, snake-like golden armor Chi roamed about, treasure tower, appearing the treasure tower was the same as the secret lore tower, containing the destruction sword intent places on the gold armor remove. They would attach itself to the opponent's and restrictive spells, and as long as the opponent was the 9th life and death realm supreme, the sword Chi would pierce even an 8th layer life and death realm titled to remove the destruction sword to force his way into the treasure tower, and one's own unless he was a kind of heaven-defying demi-venerable or even a demi-venerable. Violently shook at the entrance of treasure tower to the limit. There was an endless stream of people going in and out. Swish. Green waves of destruction sword Chi. How was your harvest forced out by a formidable force? I heard you killed a 2-star general of Yakshar race. 10,000 golden armor star. The majority of titled monarchs knew each other. He believed that the result was greeted Green Rain Emperor. If the opponent had kept his word, tiger stripes on his face would have already been decided. Those familiar with him sheathing the silver serpent sword emperor was called Battle Tiger Emperor, a 2-star general. In the future, his true form he would pay a visit to the Dragon Clan with the Qingyu Empress, but not was a human woman with delicate features. They still had a long life ahead of them, and there was no she wasn't a peerless beauty. Many titled monarchs were pursuing her. Brushing her long hair away from her forehead, Yi Chen turned his head and said, "You are the one who can't hide anything from your ears. You know it very well. Not bad. I killed a 2-star general of the Yakshar race by luck this time, but you also did not injure by a mid-tier emperor. If it was a life and death battle, so what if I fell into a disadvantageous position for a while? My strength is not as good as yours. The one who laughs in the end will be the real 1-star dark commander." Shadao was a bit sullen. Battle Tiger Emperor, if he had already had a low-grade emperor-grade weapon, he would not have said the words of limiting cultivation base. Not bad. He was just I remember you were a 1-star general 500 years ago, and now you're a 2-star general. A real battle has no time limit. Had a gentle temperament, the loser and never looked down on the winner. Of course, I won't let you die. I'm planning to go to Black Star Secret Realm Shadao said coldly. Do you want to come with me? You really have a good plan. Black Snake Emperor, Yi Chen's expression was unsightly. An icy peak his opponent was a silver dragon, battle tiger with a top-tier overlord invitation. It was almost Green Rain Emperor nodded to injure him. We'll talk about it later. Yi Chen's cultivation base was 2 levels lower, probably go. And his armor was only a high-tier overlord armor. Was something his titled monarchs was naturally far from his opponents. They might find powerful artifacts or other treasures in secret realms. This was something if the opportunities were plentiful, many times their strength might even increase by 10 times. Was about the same. It didn't mean that one couldn't win. There's a 5th layer life and death. What if I don't agree? Battle Tiger Emperor noticed a blue-robed youngster not far away. Facing such an opponent, Green Rain Emperor to leave. To be able to come to Treasure Tower, it would be hard for him to catch up. Gold commander. Yi Chen was worried about Elder Chen Qinghai. Perhaps even Chen Qinghai could teleport. which was a very
Impossible.
terrifying
Your
ability.
cultivation
You
is
have
so
to
low.
agree, even
The
if you
War
don't
Tiger
want to.
Emperor didn't
The
believe
silver
it.
flames on
Qin Yu
Shadao's
Emperor
body
said
surged.
seriously.
He
You
stood
haven't
there
heard,
like a silver
right?
sun. A 4-star
Enough.
purple gold
At this
commander
moment,
has appeared
Chen
in our human
Qinghai
race,
spoke,
and is also
Elder.
wearing blue clothes.
Shadao looked at
It's
Chen
probably
Qinghai.
him. Enough. Let them leave.
4-star purple
We
gold
will
commander.
return.
Battle
Chen
Tiger
Qinghai
Emperor
waved his
obediently
hand.
shut his
But
mouth.
Shadao's
If the
expression
opponent was
changed,
truly a 4-star
Chen
purple
Qinghai
gold
glared at
commander,
him. Then he was
have you
indeed not
forgotten
his
what the
opponent.
higher-ups told
In
you?
terms of strength,
They told you
a
to
4-star
listen to
purple
everything
gold
I
commander
say.
was already
What?
equivalent
You
to a
don't even
3-star
listen to
general.
me.
In
Shadao
terms of
wouldn't
status,
dare.
even a
You can
5-star
leave,
general was
but
a bit
I hope
inferior.
that you will consider
After
this.
all,
This
this lady
lady
had yet
is
to
a
reach
member
the
of our
7th
dragon
layer
race,
of life
and we
and
have
death
very
realm.
few members.
Once he
We
became a
won't
titled
mistreat
monarch,
her.
his
Chen
battle
Qinghai
strength
said to
would
Yi
be
Chen.
heaven-defying.
Yi Chen
Of
nodded.
course, the Battle
Actually,
Tiger Emperor
it's not
didn't
that we
really
can't
believe
talk
that
about
the young
this.
man was a
But
4-star
first,
purple gold
both
warrior,
sides must be
mainly
equal.
because his cultivation
Remember
base
not to
was a
bring
bit
him
low.
here next time.
If he were at the
Yi
6th
Chen was
sky of
sure
life
that
and
the
death
dragon
realm,
race would
he
send
might
a
have a better
second group.
chance. He
This
didn't want
blue-robed
Shadao
young
to be
man
among
was
them.
Yi Chen.
This
He
dragon
had
was
come
too
to the treasure
arrogant
tool
and looked
tower
down
to
on
buy an
everyone.
emperor-grade treasure.
Little
Shadao
brother,
could hear the
how was
contempt
your
in Yi
harvest
Chen's
this
voice.
time?
The
The
War
War
Tiger
Tiger
Emperor
Emperor
rolled his eyes
nodded.
and went up to strike
He
up a
also
conversation.
felt that he had used
Yi
the
Chen
wrong
sized
method.
him up with a glance.
Mainly,
Not
he wasn't
bad.
too happy that
Didn't
the
go
gold
to
dragon's
Black
partner
Tortoise
wasn't a
ruins in
dragon.
vain. Let's
Hee hee.
go. How many
Chen
honorary
Qinghai
commandos
grabbed
did you kill?
Shadao's shoulder.
Seeing
With
that
a
Yi
flash,
Chen didn't
they
mind his
disappeared.
conversation,
Let's
the
go
War
too.
Tiger Emperor
Yi
became
Chen
friendly.
and Xu Jing
I didn't
flew
kill
towards
many
the mystic
honorary
gravity
commanders.
planet together.
It was just a 1-star dark commander. Hee hee, very good. With your
Chapter
cultivation
1173,
I can't even beat an
on the
ordinary
mysterious
commander.
gravity star.
Smiling,
the War Tiger Emperor
exit
didn't
her
continue
seclusion.
pestering
In
Yi
terms
Chen.
of foundation,
How was it?
Murong Qingcheng
He shouldn't
was still
be
a
a
bit weaker
4-star
than
purple
Xu Jing.
gold commander.
Xu Jing was a golden
Otherwise,
dragon.
he wouldn't
and
have
she
only
could enter
killed
life
one
and
dark
death
one.
realm upon
The
reaching
War Tiger
adulthood.
Emperor said
This
to the
kind
Qing
of
Yu
solid
Emperor.
foundation
The
was
Qing
not
Yu
something
Emperor
Murong
smiled.
Qingcheng,
You're really
who had the
looking for
bloodline
trouble.
of the Dark Witch,
Perhaps he
could
didn't
compare
stay
to.
in Black
Unless
Tortoise
Murong
ruins for long.
Qingcheng could truly
Even if
become the
he's
Dark
strong,
Witch,
he'll
the
have to
situation
encounter
might
an
be
enemy
reversed,
first.
and the golden
Shaking
dragon
his
would
head,
be even
the
weaker
Qing
than the
Yu
Dark
Emperor
Witch.
entered the treasure
Let's
tool
go back
tower.
first.
The first
Yi
floor
Chen
of the
said
treasure
to
tool
Xu Jing,
tower was filled with a
Yen,
large number
Sister
of low
Qingcheng
emperor
should be
grade
able
treasures.
to break through to the
Yi
4th
Chen
layer
planned
in
to
a few
choose a
days.
low emperor grade
Xu
armor
Jing
for
nodded,
Xu Jing and
leaving
Murong
the
Qingcheng.
mysterious gravity
As
star.
for a medium
Yi Chen
emperor
took
grade
out the
armor,
phantom,
it
and the
wasn't
two
necessary
entered.
at all.
Sure.
Moreover,
The phantom's
it
speed
continued
continued
to
to
increase
increase
until it
Along
finally
the way,
disappeared
Yi
into
Chen
the void.
found that emperor grade
Fiery
armors
Star,
were about
Fiery
twice as
City.
expensive as
The
emperor
phantom
grade
stopped in the
weapons,
air
and there
above
were
the
only
Fiery
60
City
to
Lord
70%
Mansion.
of emperor
As
grade
the phantom
weapons.
was put away,
Black Crow
Yi
armor,
Chen and Xu
3,
Jing entered the
8
mansion
million
together.
yuan stones.
A woo.
Wood
A
spirit
cheerful wolf
armor,
howl
4 million
resounded
yuan
as a red
stones.
shadow pounced at Yi
Purple
Chen.
gold muddy sky
Little
armor,
wolf,
4.
The red shadow
5 million
was Yi
yuan
Chen's spirit
stones.
beast.
Bluebird
Dream-eating
armor,
wolf,
4.
Ever since
2
he
million
became the
yuan
Fiery City
stones.
Lord,
Yi
Tiger
Chen
had
had
placed
placed
the
silver
dream-eating
armor,
wolf in
3.
the mansion,
9
letting it
million
guard the
yuan
mansion.
stones.
Although
Black
the dream-eating
Phoenix
wolf
spreading
had
wings
long
armor,
since become a
4.
demonic beast king,
6 million
it had
yuan
never been able
stones.
to transform.
Basically,
Yi
a
Chen
low emperor
finally
grade
understood
armor's
that the
price was above
dream-eating
4
wolf
million
should be a
yuan
strange
stones.
beast in the universe,
I'll take
similar
this
to the
purple
giant
gold
star
muddy
beasts.
sky armor.
It could not
Yi Chen
transform at
chose
all,
the purple
and could
gold
only
muddy
appear
sky
as a
armor
demonic
first.
beast for the rest
Xu
of its
Jing
life.
was a golden dragon,
Of course,
which
this
suited
was
her
only
in
Yi
every
Chen's
aspect.
speculation.
Moreover,
In fact,
the
there
armor's
had been
defense
giant
was
star
also the
beasts that could
strongest.
transform in the past,
After all,
and
it
each
was
of them
worth
had
4.
monstrous strength comparable to peak
5
supremes.
million yuan
Caressing
stones.
the dream-eating
To buy
wolf's
a low
head,
emperor
Yi
grade
Chen
artifact,
smiled.
You must
Train
have a
hard
1-star
and become a
honorary
demonic
commander
beast
badge
emperor
or
as
a
soon as
1-star
possible.
general badge.
Who knows?
The workers
you
on
might
the
be able
first
to
floor were
transform
all
after
life
that.
and death kings.
Master,
A pretty
it doesn't
female
matter to
king
me whether or
reminded.
not I can
Here,
transform. Yi
my
Chen
aesthetic
handed over
view
a
is
1-star
different
dark
from
commander
yours.
badge and a
Dream-eating
mid-grade
wolf
storage
didn't
ring with
mind
4.
his appearance.
5 million
million yuan stones.
That's true.
Yi Chen
had a lot of
realized
storage
that his
rings,
first impression
so he didn't
was the
care
strongest.
about this one.
The city
All right,
lord's mansion
please
was
take
very
it.
big.
The
Not
female
inferior
king
to a
took
huge
out the
city.
purple gold
There
muddy
were
sky
lakes,
armor and handed
mountains,
it over to Yi
continuous
Chen,
buildings,
putting
and
away
even a
the
large
purple
gold
gold muddy
land.
sky armor.
There was enough
Yi
space
Chen
for
walked
everyone
toward
to have
another
their own
platform.
courtyard.
I'll
The
take
only
this
difference
black
being the
phoenix
size.
spreading wings armor.
However,
the
as he
most
spoke,
important thing
Yi Chen
about the
took out
city
a
lord's
one-star
mansion
general
was not
badge and a
these.
mid-grade
The
storage
most
ring with
important
4,
thing was the
6
countless
million
arrays
yuan
and
stones.
restrictions.
Little
Only
brother,
with these
you
arrays
killed
and
a one-star
restrictions
general.
could the city lord's mansion
Coincidentally,
not be attacked.
Battle Tiger Emperor
Otherwise,
was also
no
nearby.
matter how good the place
He had
was,
already seen
it would
Yi
be
Chen
nothing
buy
more
a
than a
purple
clay
gold
chicken
armor,
and pottery
and now
dog.
he bought this
On the
black phoenix
grassland of the
spreading
city
wings
lord
armor.
mansion,
He was
Yi Chen
somewhat
was
astonished.
practicing the space
Yi
profound
Chen
sword
faintly
technique.
nodded.
Momentary
I was lucky.
brilliance.
Impressive.
The War Tiger
Among
Emperor
the
gave a
Third
third revolution peak sword.
It wasn't that
techniques.
easy to
Instant
kill a
of
one-star
glory
general.
could be said to be the
A
sword
one-star
technique
general
that had
usually
followed
led an
the
army
longest.
of 50,000
Ever since he
people.
created it,
I'll treat
he
you
had
to
been
a drink
using it
when I
ever
have
since.
time.
I'll
This
go
was
to the
partly
second
due to the
floor
space
first.
profound,
Yi
but it
Chen
was
didn't
also
care
due
much
to the
about the
momentary
other's
brilliant
praise.
sword technique
He
itself.
raised his foot and
It should
walked
be known
toward
that
the
the
second
sword
floor.
technique itself was
What?
not good,
Second
and there was a
floor?
limit to the
This
profoundness
time,
it could contain.
Battle Tiger Emperor
How could
was
the
truly
foresight
astonished.
and creativity
A
of many
two-star
years
general
ago
was
was
not
not
the
the
same
same
as
as
a
a one-star general.
However,
Momentary
not only was
brilliant
he
sword
stronger,
technique
he would
was
also
different.
have a low-grade
This was a
Emperor-grade
sword
artifact
technique that had the
if it was a
ability to
low-grade
continuously
Emperor-grade
improve.
armor.
Then even
From
a
the meaning of
three-star
the
general
name,
might not be
momentary
able to kill
brilliance
him.
pursued a
The
momentary
opponent
brilliance
could easily escape,
regardless of anything
Therefore,
else.
it was very difficult
its
to
charm
increase
could
the
not
rank
be
of
increased
general.
anymore.
Being
At
stronger
most,
than the
it
opponent
could increase
didn't
the
mean that
technique a
one
little.
could kill the opponent.
This was also the
Could
main
it be
reason
that he
why it
killed
could
a
follow Yi
two-star
Chen
honor
all
commander?
this time.
When Yi
After
Chen
his
said
said
that he had only killed a
90%
one-star dark commander,
momentary brilliance
Battle Tiger
needed to be
Emperor was a
further
bit
improved.
suspicious.
Puff.
However,
Puff.
he didn't think
Puff.
that Yi
He
Chen had any
brandished it
reason
in
to
a simple
lie.
manner
Moreover,
and stabbed it forward.
the two didn't even
At
know
the tip
each
of
other.
the sword,
Let's go
brilliant
and take
light
a look.
blossomed.
Battle
Upon
Tiger
closer
Emperor
inspection,
decided to
one
follow
could see
behind
that
Yi
the
Chen.
brilliant light
He
was
was extremely
incomparably
curious
mysterious.
about Yi Chen.
It
seemed to contain a massive star within it, and when its power erupted,
Chapter
the massive star
1165.
would explode and
The
bloom
second
with its
floor
final
of the
splendor.
treasure tool tower
Not
was
enough.
filled with mid-level
Yi Chen
Emperor-grade
could feel that the
weapons.
sword intent
Compared
had not
to
been
the
used
low-level
up.
Emperor-grade
In other
weapons
words,
on the
this
first
sword
floor,
was not
it was
mature
much
enough.
less.
One
Of
day,
course, 2
this
days,
was only
3
relative.
days,
Yi
1
Chen
week,
looked
2
around
weeks,
and saw
3
dazzling
weeks.
lights of
In the
Emperor-grade
blink of an
weapons
eye,
everywhere.
1 month had
It was as
passed,
if he
and
had
3
entered a
weeks had
magical
passed.
place.
Yi
The
Chen's
price of a
improvement was
mid-grade
very
Emperor-grade
small.
artifact
Who?
was several times
Letting out
higher
a heavy
than a
breath,
low-grade
Yi
Emperor-grade
Chen
artifact.
stopped using the sword
Yi Chen
technique.
took a look and found
Looks
that the
like I
price of a
still need
mid-grade
an
Emperor-grade
opportunity.
artifact was
Sheathing
around
the silver
15
serpent
million yuan
sword,
stones,
Yi Chen
while the
walked
price of a
towards
mid-grade
Xu Jing's
Emperor-grade
cultivation
armor
area.
was around 30
On the
million.
other side of the grassland,
However, for
Xu
titled
Jing was
monarchs,
punching again
several
and
tens
again.
of millions of
The
yuan
wind from her
stones were
punches
nothing.
surged,
Let's
turning
see what
into
kind of
golden
swords there
dragon-shaped
are.
chi that
Yi
swept
Chen
in
not
all
only
directions.
planned to buy a
It
high-level
could be seen
Emperor-grade
that
sword,
Xu Jing
but
did not
also
use
a
her
mid-level
dragon force or
Emperor-grade
martial
sword.
intent.
There was an idiom
Otherwise,
that went,
the power
better
would
safe
not
than
be so
sorry.
little.
One more
Third
sword
level
meant
sacred
one more
dragon
preparation.
fist.
After
Yi Chen
all,
seemed to have
anything could
noticed
happen.
something.
If he
Clearly,
only had one sword,
Shadao's fifth
once he
order
lost
sacred
it,
dragon
his
fist
strength
had
would be
given
greatly
Xu Jing
reduced.
some inspiration.
Moreover, she had
Yi
taken
Chen
the
decided
second
to
order
show his
sacred dragon
face with a
fist's
mid-level
foundation
Emperor-grade
one step
sword.
further and
He would
created
save
her
the
third order
high-level
sacred
Emperor-grade
dragon sword
fist
for the critical
Although
moment.
she still didn't
With
know
his
if this
cultivation
third order
base,
sacred dragon
using a
fist was
high-level
authentic,
Emperor-grade
she
sword
had
would be
taken
too
this
eye-catching,
step,
and her battle
the
prowess
saying
had
the
multiplied.
tallest tree in the
Xu
forest will
Jing's
be blown by the
comprehension
wind
is
was
also
not
very
without
good.
reason.
Yi Chen
Purple
revealed a
electric
smile
frost
on
sword,
his face.
14 million
14
yuan stones.
Xu Jing noticed
Raging
Yi
flame
Chen
breeze
and
stopped.
stopped. 13
This is
million
the
yuan
third level
stones.
sacred dragon
Soaring
fist,
dragon
right?
treasured sword.
Yi Chen
13.
asked.
Xu
5
Jing
million
nodded.
yuan stones.
There's a huge gap between
Wind
the
feather
second and
sword,
fifth order
14.
sacred dragon fist.
5 million
but the
primary
fist intent is the
stones.
same. Blue moon autumn light sword. 15 million yuan
the
stones.
fourth order sacred
White
dragon
mist
fist
sword, but I can
12
do the
million
third
yuan
order.
stones.
In a few days,
Dragon taming
the dragon
sword,
race's
15
second batch of
million yuan
envoys should
stones.
arrive.
Frost
I'll have a
flower
good
sword,
talk with them
16
then.
million
The
yuan
dragon
stones.
race was located
Celestial
in the Azure
ice
Dragon
sword,
Star region,
16,
and it would take a lot
5
of time
million
to go back and
primordial
forth.
stones.
And on the
White
desolate
star
sky
of
wolf
Elysium,
sword, Xu
16
Jing had
million
already
yuan
comprehended the
stones.
profound meaning
Silver
of power
serpent
to a
sword,
very high
17
level.
million yuan
Although she did not
stones.
know the fist
There were
intent
many
of the
mid-level
sacred dragon
emperor level
fists like the
swords.
back of her hand,
As the main
she
type
was
of
at least
weapons,
familiar with
swords
it.
and sabers
Otherwise,
were the most
she
common.
would not have been
In
able
the
to
end,
deduce the
Yi
third
Chen
level
chose
sacred
the
dragon
silver
fist
serpent
after
sword.
seeing it once.
The silver serpent
Once she
treasure
obtained
sword
the
was a
fist
sword
intent
that looked
behind
like
the
a silver
sacred dragon
serpent.
fist,
The
not to
sword
mention
hilt
the
seemed
top
to be
10 of
made
the
of
heavenly
pure
king
silver,
list,
and
she
it
would
was
have a
covered
high
in
chance
densely
of getting
packed
first
silver
place.
snake scales.
Xu Jing did
The
not
body
say
of the
anything.
sword was curved
In
like
fact,
a snake,
if the
and
other
it was
party
radiant radiant
not
with
so
silver
overbearing.
light. There
The
was
tip
no
of the
harm in
sword
going.
was a snake's
She
head.
also wanted
In
to
addition,
see those dragons
the silver
like
serpent
her.
treasure sword
How could
was a
Yi
soft
Chen not
sword,
see through
and it was
Shu Jing's
suitable for
thoughts?
people with great
He
sword
muttered,
arts.
"I'll go back
It was
to
very
the God
difficult
Paradise
for ordinary
first.
sword emperors
If nothing
to unleash
unexpected
the full power
happens,
of the
I'll be
silver
back in
serpent
half a
treasure
month."
sword.
He
Handing
planned to
over a
break through to
two-star
the
general
6th
badge
life
and
and
death
17
realm.
million
The
source
purity
stones.
and
Yi
density
Chen
of
received
Zhen
the
Yuan
silver
between the
serpent
5th and
sword.
6th life and
Good
death realm
sword.
were about 10 times higher.
Yi Chen
Once he
observed
broke
it
through,
carefully,
his
and
strength
the more
would
he
increase
looked,
greatly.
the more he liked
At
it.
that time,
The
he
silver
would be able to
serpent sword
control the
felt
eternal
cold in
Knight
his
Emperor
hand.
sword and
It
the
seemed to
immemorial
have the
Chi
power
armor
to calm people
with a
down.
stronger strength.
Faintly,
He would at
Yi
least
Chen
have
could
more
feel
confidence.
that the sword was trembling like a
don't
silver
worry.
snake. I'll go
The
to the mysterious
gravity
treasure
sword
often to see
also
if Sister
gorgeous.
Ching Cheng has come
It was
out.
covered in silver
Shu Jing
snake
seemed to
scales,
know what
and
Yi
it looked
Chen
more
was
like
thinking.
a silver snake.
On the same day,
At the end of the
Yi Chen
scabbard
returned
were two
to the
red
gems
gems
that looked like the eyes
on
of a
the second
snake,
floor of the
cold
tower
and
of time.
motionless. Yi Chen sat
sheathing
cross-legged
the
and
silver
tried his
serpent
best to
sword.
circulate
Yi
Jin
Chen
Yuan
wore it
again
on
on
his
his
waist,
waist, each time a bit faster
general
than the
badge.
previous one.
Battle
Yi
Tiger
Chen's
Emperor's
foundation
mouth
was
of the
wide
fifth
open,
life and death
unable
realm
to close.
was already very solid.
Following behind
in
Yi
the
Chen,
past few years,
he could clearly
he had
see
often
that Yi
used
Chen
the
took
Tower
out a
of Time
two-star
to temper
general
his
badge.
Jin Yuan.
Fortunately,
This time,
after
human.
encountering the
If he
remnant
were an
fist
enemy,
intent of the
I would have
Supreme in the
died
core
without a
area
burial
of the
ground
Black
for
Tortoise
looking down
ruins.
on him like
Yi
this.
Chen's Jin Yuan
Yi
and
Chen
mental
was
power
indeed a
had been
fifth heavenly
tempered once
layer
again.
life and death
At
realm,
this moment,
but Yi
he
Chen's
already
battle
had a
strength
100%
shocked even
chance of
Battle
breaking
Tiger
through
Emperor.
to the sixth
On the
life and death
battlefield,
realm.
if Battle Tiger Emperor thought the opponent was a pushover, he wouldn't even know how he died.
Chapter
Of
1174.
Battle Tiger Emperor
100
felt
days
that Yi
in the
Chen
time
was a
tower
freak.
was one day
He
in the
hoped
outside
that the other
world.
races didn't
In
have
the blink
this
of
kind
an eye,
freak,
2
or
years
else
had
he'd be
passed
out of
in the
luck
time
one
tower.
day. But
Battle
only 8
Tiger
days had
Emperor,
passed in
am
the
I
outside
right?
world.
Blue Rain
On this
Emperor
day,
also
Yi
saw
Chen's
this scene.
body shone with
Yen,
an intense
your
cyan
eyesight
light.
is indeed
This
good.
cyan light
Battle
was so
Tiger
bright
Emperor
that Yi Chen's
repeatedly
entire body
nodded.
looked like a
Blue
shining
Rain
cyan
Emperor
shook
sun.
his head.
Within
It's
the
not that my
cyan light,
eyesight is
an
good.
extremely
It's a
frightening
matter of
power
mentality.
was brewing
The
and rising.
universe is so
I'm
vast,
about to break
and
through.
any kind of genius
Yi Chen
is
waved
possible.
his hand.
If I'm
and a
not
stream
wrong,
of Yuan
he should be the
stones
only
flew out of his
4-star
storage
purple
ring,
gold
hovering
commander
above
of
Yi
my
Chen's
human
head.
race.
In the next
But
moment,
not many
the
people
surging
know
Yuan
about
stone
it.
energy
The
poured
higher
into Yi
ups
Chen's
have
body
purposely
through his
sealed
Baihui
this
meridian.
information.
100,000
seems like I'm still too impetuous.
300,000.
I can't compare to you.
500,000.
But
this
1
is
million.
also a good thing.
Breaking through to
At
the
least,
sixth sky
it
of
can
life and
remind
death
me
realm
not to look
required
down
a
on the
huge
people
amount
of
of
this
Yuan
world.
stones. Battle
1
Tiger
million
Emperor
Yuan
smiled
stones
was like a
How
drop
is
in the
it?
bucket.
Have you
2
chosen
million,
a suitable
3
low-grade
million,
emperor-grade
5
artifact?
million.
Blue
Blue
Rain
Rain
Emperor asked.
When the number of
Not
Yuan
yet.
stones reached
The
8
first
million,
one is
Yi Chen
low-grade
finally
emperor-grade
broke through.
artifact.
Buzz.
I have to
A
be
huge
careful
cyan
and choose
lotus
the most
formed above
suitable
Yi
one.
Chen's head,
Right.
slowly rotating.
What about you?
Only Yi
I've
Chen
already
knew
chosen.
why there was a huge
Blue
lotus
Rain Emperor
above his
took
head.
out an armor that
It was
seemed
because
to be
his
carved
green
out of
lotus sword
emerald,
spell had
worthy
reached the
of
peak
being
of
a
heaven
mid-grade
realm from
emperor
high-rank
grade
heaven
armor.
realm.
Battle
Martial
Tiger
arts
Emperor's
and
face
secret
was
arts
full of
were
envy.
not the same.
With the silver
After
serpent
top-rank
sword in
heaven
hand,
realm secret
Yi
arts,
Chen didn't
there were
stop and
heavenly kings
continued
toward
secret
the third
arts.
floor.
Emperor secret
It
arts,
can't be.
and even Emperor
Blue Rain
secret
Emperor
arts.
and Battle Tiger
Secret
Emperor
arts were
who
similar
thought
to
Yi
martial
Chen was
arts
going to go
and
down,
had a lot of room
gasped
for
and
improvement.
looked at each other in dismay.
However,
After
what?
top-rank
How
heaven
many
realm
foreign
martial
race
arts
generals
it
did
was
he kill
basically
in the
the Xian
peak?
Wu ruins?
After that,
Why
there
was
were
there
only
no end to
supreme
it?
martial arts.
Half of the high-grade
Supreme martial
emperor-grade
arts
artifacts
contained
on
the
the
mysteries
third floor
of the
were gone.
universe.
Of course,
Under normal
the number was
circumstances,
still a lot.
only supreme
This was Yi
martial
Chen's
artists
main
could create
battlefield.
them.
The strength of supreme
He
martial
wanted
artists
to choose a
lay in being
high-grade
the
emperor-grade
strongest in
sword
every
and a
aspect.
high-grade
When
emperor-grade armor.
combined, it
As
was
for
simply
exchanging
unparalleled.
for a high-grade
Looking
heavenly
down on the
king's
universe
set in the paradise of
after
gods,
his green
that
lotus
could
sword
wait.
spell reached
Right
the
now,
peak of heaven
there was
realm,
still a long
Yi
way
Chen
to go
realized
before
that
he
his Jin
reached 5
Yuan was
million.
even more like
He
sword
couldn't
Yuan,
just
being
ignore it.
shockingly pure.
Defense
This
was his
also
biggest
the
weakness.
reason why he spent
It was
8
better
million
to deal
Yuan
with it
stones
first.
to break through.
Tai
Of
Scarlet
course,
Firmament
Yi
Sword,
Chen did not lack Yuan
120
stones.
million.
8
Giant
million
Spirit
Yuan
Sword
stones
was
was just a
110
drop in the ocean
million.
for him.
Flying Wave
However,
Cutter Sword,
it was a lot
110
for others.
million.
Many solitary
True
kings
martial
relied
7
on
Calamity
accumulating
Sword,
wealth over the years to
120
accumulate
million.
so much.
Heaven Rainbow
Otherwise,
Sword,
how could
90
they have
million.
so many Yuan
Blood Shadow
stones?
Ancient Sword,
Moreover,
90
the
million.
Zhen Yuan
The
consumed
high-grade
in each
emperor-grade
battle had to
swords
be
on the
quickly
third
recovered
floor
with
were all
Yuan
rare
stones.
treasures.
For example,
Ordinary
if
titled
Yi Chen's
monarchs
Jin
would
Yuan
treat
was
any one of
exhausted,
them as
he
a
would have
treasure.
to spend more than
After
8
all,
million Yuan
high-grade
stones to
emperor-grade
recover his
swords
Jin
were
Yuan.
even rarer in the
This
market.
was not a small number.
Many people would rather
Without
leave
tens
them
of
for their
millions or
descendants
even
than
hundreds of
auction them.
millions of Yuan
The true
stones,
martial
one
7
would not
Calamity
dare to
Sword is not
continuously
bad,
fight.
but it doesn't
In
suit
short,
me.
Life
The
and
true
death realm
martial
first
7
and
Calamity
second layer
Sword
heavenly
had 7
kings were the
sections,
poorest,
and the hilt had a black and white white Tai Chi diagram.
Some of them
it
might not even be able
elegant,
to take out
filled with an indescribable majesty and heavenly
life and
will.
death realm third
But
and
Yi
fourth
Chen
layer
had a feeling that
kings were
although
normal,
the true
and
martial
they might
seven
be able to
calamity
take out
sword was
several
good,
tens of
it
thousands
didn't
of
suit
yuan
him.
stones.
It might have
As for
something to
fifth
do
and
with his
sixth layer heavenly
personality.
kings,
Their wealth was
all
very
of a sudden,
unstable.
Yi Chen's
Ranging
vision
from
was
hundreds of
taken away
thousands
by
of
a
yuan
sword.
stones to
It
millions
was a
of yuan
sword that
stones.
faintly emitted
This
Emperor
was because
Qi.
they had spent
The sword
countless
was pure
years
black
to reach
and
this
didn't
realm,
have a trace
which
of
was
brilliance.
enough for them to slowly
At first
accumulate
glance,
a lot of wealth.
it looked like an
Of
ordinary
course,
black sword.
other sixth layer
If it
kings
wasn't
were
for its
different from
unique
Yi
aura,
Chen. It would be hard to notice that they had spent less than 1 million yuan stones to break through to the
noble,
6th layer.
Mysterious,
Yi Chen's
and
Jin Yuan
unfathomable.
was much more
Eternal
vigorous
Knight
and
Emperor
pure than
sword.
theirs.
160
Top Heaven Realm
million.
martial arts
What
were
a
not
great
something
Eternal
to be
Knight
trifled
Emperor
with.
sword.
In short,
This is it.
people could
Without
not be
any
compared with each
hesitation,
other. Yi Chen
a dozen
chose
years
this
ago,
unique
Yi
sword.
Chen's wealth was
the
only
sword
a few
emitted
emitted
by the
yuan,
destruction
which
sword
was earned
intent
from
was
selling
black,
king-grade
and so was
battleships
this
and
sword.
supreme-grade
The
swords.
two complemented
Now,
each other.
he could casually
Taking out
spend
the
hundreds
golden
of
millions,
spears,
Yi
so
Chen
he did not
wanted
feel
to
too
trade
much
for
pain.
it. Standing
Sorry,
up, I can't
Yi
estimate
Chen
the
walked
price
out
of
of the
this
time
spear.
tower.
Please
Leaving
wait a
the
moment.
god paradise on
The
the
staff
godship,
on the 3rd
Yi
floor
Chen
left
did not
in a hurry.
directly go to
It
the
seemed like
mysterious
he was going
gravity
to
star.
find someone who
If
could
Murong
appraise the
Qingcheng
price of the
succeeded
spear.
in breaking
Yi
through,
Chen
she
wasn't
would
in a
definitely
hurry.
return to
He
Inferno
waited
Flower
quietly
City.
where he was.
If not,
After
it would
a
be
while,
useless to
an
go
old
there
man
now.
dressed in black
It would be
walked
better
over.
to return as soon as possible, lest he be absent when the Dragon
Chapter
Clan emissary
1166.
arrived. Returning
The
to Inferno
black-robed old
Flower
man's
City,
cultivation
as
base
expected,
was not low.
Murong
Even
Qingcheng
one
had
level
not
higher than
returned.
Yi Chen's.
She was
He
probably
was at the
still in
6th sky of
seclusion.
life and death
Master,
realm.
Lung
He took the
Xinghan
golden
was about
spear
to
from Yi
leave when he
Chen's
bumped
hand
into
and
Yi
carefully
Chen.
observed it.
Hey,
Occasionally
what are you
using
going
his
out
soul
for?
power to
Yi
scan
Chen
it.
asked.
Then,
I've
he
joined
took
a
out
team to
square
explore
stone
the
platform
Whirlwind
and placed
secret
the golden
realm.
spear on
We're
it.
leaving today.
The platform flickered
Whirlwind
with a bright
secret
light.
realm, eventually
Yi Chen had
settling
heard
into a
of the
green
Whirlwind
color.
secret realm
Putting away the
before.
platform,
It was
the
not too
black-robed
dangerous,
old man
but
raised
it was
his
still
head and said
dangerous
to Yi
for
Chen,
kings at or
this
below the
spear is a
3rd sky of
high-grade
life and
emperor-grade
death
weapon,
realm.
a fine
Of course,
product. He would not
its
stop
price
Lung
is
Xinghan.
120 million
Geniuses
yuan
needed to be
stones.
polished
What
before
is
they
a
could
fine
shine.
product?
Yi Chen was rather
asked.
strict with his
The
4
black-robed
disciples.
elder explained.
He only gave each
Treasured
of them
weapons of the
100,000
same grade
yuan
are also
stones,
divided
and
into
after
good
they
and
used
bad.
it up,
The
they would
lowest
have to
grade
earn
is
more.
ordinary,
Only
followed
after
by
they
fine
reached
grade,
the 3rd
then
sky of
precious
life and
grade,
death realm
and
would
finally
he give them
supreme
more.
grade.
Be careful.
For example,
People
this
are
Eternal
unpredictable.
Knight Emperor sword
Yi
is a
Chen
supreme
faintly
grade
nodded.
high-grade Emperor grade treasure
Master's
sword,
teachings are
1 in a
correct.
million.
If you want to exchange for this Eternal Knight
Lung
Emperor
Xinghan
sword,
was
you
not a
need to
newbie.
take out another
Although
40
he could
million
not compare to
prime
Yi
stones.
Chen, who had
So
experienced
that's how
hundreds
it
of
is.
battles,
All
he was
right.
still outstanding.
Yi Chen nodded
He would
and
not
took
be
out
easily
40 million
deceived
yuan
and fall into
stones,
danger.
handing them over.
On the prairie,
Receiving the
Xu Jing
stones
was
and
practicing
the
the
3rd step
black-robed
sacred
old
dragon
man
fist.
handed them over to the
Compared
staff
to a
and
week
left
ago,
in a hurry,
Xu Jing's
seeming to be
3rd
very
step
busy.
sacred dragon fist
Holding the
was much
Eternal
more
Knight
skillful,
Emperor sword,
and her fist
Yi Chen
intent was
immediately
astonishing.
felt a wave of
You're
Emperor
back.
chi pouring into
Xu
his
Jing
body.
stopped. His mind
there
sank
still
into
no one
darkness,
from the Dragon
but it was
Clan?
not the kind of feeling where he couldn't see anything.
Xu Jing
Instead,
shook her head.
it was a feeling
No
of
rush.
being in the darkness
They should be
and
here
being
soon.
able to see
It was
everything
impossible
clearly.
for the Dragon
It was as
Clan
if
to
the
give
sword
up
in
on
his
Xu
hand
Jing.
was not a sword,
The importance
but a dark
of a golden
knight.
dragon was
This
obvious.
sword is much stronger
It was
than
enough
the
to
golden
become the
spear.
pillar of the Dragon
Yi Chen
Clan.
sucked in a deep
In the
breath
following
and
days,
couldn't help
Yi
but
Chen
wave the
stayed in the
Eternal
City
Knight
Lord's
Emperor
mansion
sword and learned
Huff.
more about the situation
The
of
black
the
sword
Yi
wind
clan
surged,
and the falling
and the
dust
sovereign
sword
monarch
sect.
closest to it
Regarding
was
Yi
caught off
Shen
guard.
and Yi
He
Xiaoxiao,
could not help
Yi
but be
Chen's
blown
feelings
away,
were quite
and his
complicated.
protective quintessence
They could be
flickered.
considered geniuses, and
Stabilizing
as long as
his
they were
body,
tempered,
the monarch
they would
glared
certainly
at
have
Yi
some
Chen.
accomplishments in the
Sorry.
future.
Yi
However,
Chen immediately
Yi Chen was
reacted
also
and
afraid
apologized.
that they would fall during
Forget
their training.
I was just
This
like
was
you
quite
back then.
possible, as
I
not
couldn't
every
control
genius could
myself
walk to
after
the end.
obtaining a treasure.
90%
This
of them
titled
died
monarch
on the
was
path
not
of someone who would
advancement.
be unforgiving.
Therefore,
Yi
seeing
Chen
that
didn't
Yi
know
Chen
whether
did
to
not
let
do
Yi
it on
Shen and Yi
purpose, he
Xiaoxiao
did not
work
pursue
hard
the
or live
matter
a
any
peaceful
further.
life.
I'm
Of
really
course,
sorry.
with their
These
potential,
10 bottles
breaking
of lava
through to the
wine
life
and
and
death
death
realm
realm
would
not
not
be
be
considered
considered
my apology.
It was just a
Yi
matter of
Chen
time.
saw that the other
As for
party's
the falling
clothes were
dust
torn,
sword
and he
sect,
was in a sorry
Zhong
state.
Haoren had been working
Lava
very
wine
hard.
and ice sea
He was
wine
often
from the
not in the
paradise
City
of
Lord's
gods,
mansion,
good
and was
stuff.
not there at the moment.
The man's eyes lit
Everyone
up,
had
and
their
he
own
happily took
ambitions.
it. And Yi
My
Chen knew
name
that
is Zhang
Zhang Haoren
Haoren.
would not be
I'll make
satisfied
friends
with
with
being
you.
ordinary.
May I know
Everyone
your name?
yearned for a glorious
Lang Feng
future.
was also quite
On the other
famous
hand,
on the Golden
Lu
Armor
Hantan
Star,
and Zhu
he
Mai
was
felt that
titled
their
Scarlet
current days
Wind
were
Emperor
quite good,
and was a 5-star
They did not
general. have any extravagant
very
expectations, but
as
he
long
was
as
not
they could break
arrogant
through
at
to
all.
the life and death realm and have a lifespan
Instead,
of 100,000
he was
years,
very willing to
then
make
watch their
friends.
descendants grow
Otherwise,
up slowly.
if it was someone
Moreover,
else, in the
they would
falling dust
definitely
sword
not let
sect,
it go.
they did not
I
have to
am Yi
worry
Chen.
about their own survival.
Yi Chen reported
Another
his
week
name.
passed in a
You
flash,
are the only
and the city
four-star
lord's
purple
mansion
gold
was
commander
very
of
peaceful.
our human race.
Two figures appeared
Scarlet
on the
Wind
star
Emperor
teleportation
Langphone was well
formation
informed
closest
and
to
asked
planet Fiery
hesitantly.
Flame.
You can
One
say
was
so.
Chen Qinghai,
Yi Chen
and
did
the
not
other was a
deny and
white-haired
sheathed
old
the
man.
eternal Night
The
Emperor
old man
sword.
had a benevolent look on
Immediately,
his face,
the sword
and a
became
faint
very
smile
ordinary,
could be seen
without
on his
a
face.
trace of aura leaking
It was as
out.
if he had
I
experienced
can see
the
that your strength
vicissitudes
is
of
not
life
just
and was
four-star
looking at the
purple
world
gold
with
commander,
a smile.
right?
Little guy,
Five-star
we will meet
purple gold
soon.
commander
I
should
wonder
be
how
more
much
like
you
it.
have grown.
To be able to
I am
enter
looking
the third
forward
floor
to
of the
it.
treasure tower, a four-star purple gold commander was not enough. Scarlet Wind Emperor
Chapter
couldn't help but admire
1175.
Yi Chen.
In a pavilion
such
on a high
strength
mountain,
that the fifth layer
Yi
of
Chen
life
raised
and
his
death
head
realm,
and gazed
could
at
be
the
called
star
a
heaven-defying genius.
Vaguely, he
After
felt
chatting
that someone
for a while,
important had
Scarlet
arrived.
Wind Emperor said,
He knew
"If
this
you have
person,
time," and their
let's go to the
relationship
Sun
was
Moon
not
restaurant
shallow.
in Golden
Who
Armor
could it
Nebula
be?
Barracks for a
Putting
drink.
down his cup,
The wine
Yi
there is
Chen
also
stood
not
up.
bad.
On
Only
the
a bit
prairie,
worse than the
Xu Jing
wine
also
from the
sensed
Paradise of
something
Gods.
and stopped her third
Sun
step
Moon
sacred
restaurant.
dragon fist.
You know the
Xu
Snow
Jing,
Air Emperor.
let's go welcome
Yi
the
Chen
guests.
couldn't help but
Besides
ask.
Xu Jing,
Yi
Scarlet
Chen's
Wind
figure
Emperor
laughed
appeared.
heartily.
Pulling
The
Xu
Snow Air
Jing's
Emperor
hand,
is my
the
girlfriend.
two walked out of the
In order
mansion
to
and
pursue
flew
her,
into the sky.
I spent 100
Not
years.
long after,
However,
two figures
we
flew
got to know
over
each
from the
other
distant
in the
horizon.
Paradise of Gods.
This is,
It
Yi
turned
Chen
out
and
that
Xu
Scarlet
Jing's
Wind
faces
Emperor
revealed
used to be a
pleasant
member of the
surprise.
Paradise of
Close.
Gods.
As
In
the
fact,
silhouettes got
the
closer
majority
and
of
closer,
titled
Yi
monarchs
Chen
and
and
even
Xu
supremes
Jing could
came
finally
from the
see their
Paradise
faces
of Gods.
clearly.
One
This
was
was
the
not
dragon
surprising
elder
to
Chen
Yi Chen,
Qinghai, whom
I
they had
still
met
want
half
to
a month
choose
ago,
another armor.
and the other was a
I'll go to the
white-haired,
Sun Moon
benevolent-looking
restaurant
old
later.
man with a familiar
Yi Chen
smile.
thought for a while
Senior
and said,
Dragon King,
"All right,
Master,
it's a deal."
Yi Chen
Let's
and
not go
Xu Jing
home
went
until
up
we're
to
drunk.
greet them.
As
Little
the saying
guy,
goes,
disciple,
birds of a
long
feather
time
flock
no
together.
Dragon
Scarlet
King
Wind
laughed
Emperor
heartily and
intuitively
increased
knew
his
that
speed.
Yi Chen was a friend
Chen
worth
Qinghai
making.
kept pace with
His
him,
intuition
neither
was
too
rarely
fast
wrong.
nor too slow.
After Scarlet
Finally,
Wind Emperor
the
left,
two sides
Yi
met.
Chen continued
Senior
to stay
Dragon
on the
King,
third floor
I
of the
knew
treasure
you wouldn't
tower.
die so easily.
The price of
Just
high-grade
as I
emperor-grade
expected,
armors was
Yi Chen
astonishing.
sized up
The
Dragon
cheapest
King.
one cost
Apart
200
from his
million
cultivation
yuan
base
stones,
increasing
and
by a
some
lot,
even reached
reaching the
300
sixth
million.
layer of life
This
and
was
death
not
realm.
a small number.
Dragon King
Even
didn't
for
seem to
titled
have
monarchs
changed
of the
much.
seventh layer.
In a flash,
After all,
20 years
many
had
of them
passed.
had families
Meeting
behind them,
again,
and their
Yi
wealth
Chen
was
couldn't
not
hide
that
his
great.
joy.
Seven
Dragon
sea
King's
flood dragon armor
contributions couldn't go
240
unnoticed in
million
Yi
yuan
Chen's growth.
stones.
It could
9
be said
dragon
that
armor,
Dragon King and
280
Xu
million
had
yuan
created half
stones.
of Yi Chen.
Galaxy armor,
Master,
280
Xu Jing stood
million
beside
yuan
Dragon
stones.
King obediently.
Radiant armor,
Dragon King sized up Xu
220
Jing
million
and Yi
yuan
Chen.
stones.
Good. You've grown
Scarlet
much better
battle
than I
armor,
imagined.
220
What's wrong?
million yuan
Aren't
stones.
you going to invite me
Primordial
in?
Unity
Dragon
Chi
King
armor,
joked.
300
Senior
million
Dragon
yuan
King,
stones.
this way please.
Armors were used
Yi
to
Chen
protect one's
invited
life,
Dragon King
so the
and
price
Chen
was
Qinghai
understandable.
into the mansion
After
of the
a
governor.
while,
In
Yi
a
Chen
pavilion
chose
on
the
a high
Primordial
mountain,
Unity
a
Chi
gentle
armor,
breeze blew
which was worth
gently,
300
and white
million
clouds
yuan
floated around.
stones.
The stone table was filled
The
with all
Primordial
kinds
Unity
of top-grade
Chi armor
fruits.
was quite
Yi
peculiar.
Chen filled Dragon
Its
King's
material
and
was
Chen
similar to
Qinghai's
jade,
cups and
and
sat
its
down.
surface was filled
The Dragon
with
King
chaotic
took a
chi
sip of
flows.
wine and said,
Upon careful
the fact
observation,
that all of you are
one
here
could see
means
that
the
the
crisis
crisis
of
of
Elysium
chi
has
flows
been
were
resolved.
moving in a regular
Yes.
pattern,
Yi
forming
Chen
an
nodded.
inseparable whole.
Although you won't
Handing
say
over
it,
the
I
three-star
know
general
that you must
badge
have
and
doubts in your
300 million
hearts.
yuan stones.
Since I'm still
Yi Chen
alive,
grabbed
why
the
didn't I
Primordial
bring
Unity
people to
Chi
rescue
armor.
Elysium?
Dang.
Yi Chen
said,
flicked
there
his
must
finger.
be a reason why
Relying
Senior
on his
Dragon
touch,
King didn't
Yi
do
Chen
that.
could feel that
Yi
the
Chen
power of
won't
his
make
finger
wild
flicking was
guesses.
completely
The
scattered.
Dragon King
unable to be
smiled and
concentrated.
turned to Xu Jing.
With further
Little
reasoning,
girl,
it wasn't
you
hard to
finally
understand
transformed
that this
into a real
primordial
dragon.
singular energy
This is
was
all
unique
thanks
in its
to
ability
Master.
to disperse
Xu
attacks.
Jing replied,
If one
the
struck
Dragon
out with
King
100%
waved his
of
hand.
one's strength,
I just
it
did
would
what
be
I should
scattered
do.
into thousands
It's
of
not
parts.
my credit.
Unless one's
However,
attack strength
you still have
surpassed
to
the upper
return
limits
to the
of the
Dragon
primordial
Clan.
singular
There's
energy,
no reason
it
for a
would be
dragon
difficult
not
to
to
break
return.
through its defenses. There are so many good things here.
This person
There are
beside
even
me is Elder
Emperor-grade
Chen
armors
Qinghai
and the
of the
rarely
Dragon
seen
Clan.
supreme armor
You've
in the
already
universe.
met him before.
Yi Chen
there's no
sighed
need
and
for
put
further
away the primordial
introductions.
unity
Yi
Chi
Chen
armor.
asked, Night
Senior
fell.
Dragon King,
Cloud
why are
coming
you with
army
Elder
camp.
Chen? Sun
Are
Moon
you
restaurant.
also from the
in
Dragon
the most
Clan?
luxurious private
He
room
remembered
on the
that
top
Senior
floor.
Dragon
4
King
people
wasn't
wasn't
a
sitting
dragon.
there. Among
He
these
just had the
4,
bloodline
2
of
were
a flood
Scarlet Wind
dragon.
Emperor and
Chen
Snow Air
Qinghai
Emperor.
explained,
The other
the
2
flood
were not
dragon
ordinary
is also a
either,
member of the
having
Dragon
a
Clan.
cultivation base
It's
of
impossible
7th-layer
for
life
everyone
and
in the
death realm.
Dragon Clan to
If
be
someone
dragons.
who knew them were here,
Dragons are
they would
too rare,
recognize them
and
as
golden
Fire
dragons
Sparrow
are
Emperor
even
and
rarer.
Stone Emperor.
Yes,
One was
the
a friend
Dragon
four-star
King
general,
nodded,
and the other
I
a
have the
five-star
bloodline of
general.
a flood dragon.
In comparison,
so I joined the
Snow
Dragon
Emperor
clan.
was the weakest.
Speaking of
Being
joining
a
the Dragon
three-star
clan,
general,
I'll have
the
to
four
start
had
from
known
the
each
path
other
of
for a
death.
long time.
Yi Chen
Due
and
to their
Xu
good
Jing didn't
relationship,
say anything.
the outside
They
world
just
had given them a
listened
collective
quietly.
name. Back
Earth,
then,
water,
with my strength,
fire,
I
and
charged
wind
into the
emperors.
path of death
Earth
with
was
no
Stone
chance of
Emperor.
survival.
Water was Snow
However,
Emperor.
since I
Fire
dared to
was
do
Fire
so,
Sparrow
I
Emperor.
naturally made
And wind was
preparations.
Scarlet Wind Emperor.
This preparation
Among them
was a dragon
Stone
scale.
Emperor was the oldest.
This scale
while
came
Snow
from the
Emperor
body of a
was the
supreme
youngest.
dragon, and it
Langfeng,
contains the
it's
power
already
of the
so
supreme
late.
dragon.
Do you
It's
think he will
mysterious
come?
and unfathomable.
Fire Sparrow Emperor
Even
had
after
a
so
fiery
many
temperament.
years, its power
He took a
hasn't
bite of
weakened at all.
barbecued meat and
Yi
asked.
Chen listened attentively.
Scarlet Wind Emperor
The
smiled.
supreme dragon
Of course
was
he will.
naturally a ninth
I
layer
can't be
life
wrong
and
in
Death
judging
Realm
people.
people.
And
the three
the
were
dragon
Scarlet
scale
Wind
on the
Emperor's
body
best
of the
friends,
supreme
and
dragon
Snow
possessed
Emperor
a
was his
mysterious
girlfriend.
power. The
It was
four
easy
hadn't
to
seen each other
understand.
for several years.
This dragon scale
This
should
time,
have come
they
from
were
the
meeting
little
at
girl's
some
relative,
moon restaurant.
perhaps her father,
Later on,
or perhaps
Scarlet
her
Wind
mother.
Emperor
I'm not
invited
too
Yi
sure
Chen.
either.
Fire
Back
Sparrow
then,
Emperor
I
and
sensed
Stone
that the
Emperor
aura
were
on the
also
little
quite
girl's
curious
body
about
was
Yi
very
Chen,
similar to
so
that
they
of the
looked
dragon
forward to
scale.
it.
That's
Why
here.
I suspected
At
her
this moment,
identity and brought
Scarlet
her
Wind
back to the
Emperor
dragon
and Snow
god
Air Emperor
Celestial
stood up
Palace.
and walked out of
The
the
Dragon
private
King
room to welcome
explained.
him. So that's how it is. Yi Chen suddenly saw the light.
Chapter 1167.
No wonder the Dragon King knew
Sorry,
Shu Jing's
I'm late.
identity. Leaving the
turned
treasure
out to
tower,
be a dragon
Yi Chen
scale.
found a place
It should
to
be
test
known
the power
that Shu
of the
Jing
silver
was
snake
no
sword
different
and
from a
eternal
human.
night emperor
Even
sword.
if she was a real
He had
human,
almost forgotten
Senior
about
Dragon
the
King
gathering
wouldn't
tonight.
be able to see through
Not
Shu
late.
Jing's identity
Come
at once.
this way.
Unless he was
I'll
a
introduce
supreme.
you to two
Shu
friends.
Jing's complexion
Scarlet
changed.
Wind Emperor let
She
out
had
a sigh
always
of
wanted
relief.
to know her
He
origin.
was truly afraid
However,
that Yi Chen
after
wouldn't
hearing
come.
the Dragon King's
Snow
words,
Air Emperor
she knew
sized
that
up
she would
Yi
have
Chen
to
and
find out
said
herself
herself
in the future.
After a day,
The experts
I'll look at
guarding
you in
the
a
death
different
path
light.
were much stronger
If this
than me.
speed of yours
They
were to
destroyed
spread
my
to the other
body
races,
in an instant.
I'm afraid it would cause a
Fortunately,
huge storm.
I had already
Back in the
condensed a
black
drop of
tortoise
blood
ruins,
essence on the
Yi
dragon
Chen's
scale.
strength was much
Under
weaker
my
than
stimulation,
the
Who would
dragon
have thought
scale
that he would
stealthily
surpass
broke
her
out
in
the
just a
death
year
path
and escaped?
She couldn't help
Afterward,
but admire him.
I was reborn
Entering
from a
the
drop
private
of blood
room
and slowly
Yi Chen
recovered.
saw Scarlet
However,
Wind Emperor's
the
two
starry
friends.
sky was
One
boundless
was an
and
enchanting
boundless,
beauty
and I didn't
wearing
know
a
where to
fiery
go.
feather robe. After
Her
drifting for
appearance
several
and
years,
figure were
I
both
discovered
extremely
that the
sexy.
dragon scale was
Her fiery
reacting
red
to a
hair
certain
was tied
direction.
into a ponytail.
So,
I
looking
carried
like
the
the
dragon
dragon scale
flame
and rushed
Her
in that
eyes were
direction.
deep red like two
Along
red
the way,
diamonds,
I
and her
discovered a
plump
new
red
use
lips were
of the
slightly
dragon
upturned,
scale, giving off a smile that was yet not a smile. It turned
At
out
this moment,
that the dragon
she was
scale could
openly
carry me
observing
through
Yi
the
Chen.
void at an
The
astonishing
other was an
speed.
old-fashioned
Just
youth
like
wearing
that,
a grey
after
robe.
several years,
He didn't look
I found
very
the place
dazzling,
where the
but
dragon
he couldn't
scale
be
was
ignored,
reacting to,
faintly emitting
that
an
place was
ancient
the
aura.
life planet
Both
of the
of them
Azure
were
dragon
at the seventh
Starfield's
sky
dragon
of
life
race.
and death realm.
At this point,
the feather-robed
dragon
woman
king was a
paused
beast
for a
emperor,
moment,
while
raised
the
his
old-fashioned
glass and took a
youth
sip
was
of
a
wine.
titled human
When I
emperor.
arrived at
This
the
is
life
Fire
planet of the
Sparrow
dragon
Emperor,
race, and this
10
is
years
Stone
had
Emperor.
passed.
He is
Because
Yi
I have
Chen.
the blood of the flood
Scarlet
dragon
Wind
in me,
Emperor
the
introduced
dragon
the
race
two.
recognized my
Fifth
identity,
sky of life
and I
death
became a
realm,
member of
a
the
bit
dragon
low.
race.
It's hard to
Worried about
imagine
the
that
safety
you
of
could kill a
Elysium, I
three-star
reported
general.
to the higher-ups
Fire
of the dragon
Sparrow
race,
Emperor said
hoping
honestly,
that they would send
Yi
people to
Chen
rescue
smiled
Elysium.
but didn't explain.
However, later I realized
everyone,
that I didn't
sit
know where
down.
Elysium was.
Let's not
and
go
no one
home
knew the
until we're
direction
drunk.
of Elysium.
As the
It
owner
was
of
as if
Sun
this
Moon
was a
restaurant,
forgotten world.
Snow Air Emperor warmly greeted everyone. Yi Chen was
Fine
deep in
wine
thought.
and delicacies
Generally,
were served,
the
and the
inhabited
five
worlds
chatted
of the
while
human
eating.
race were near
The
the four
atmosphere
major
gradually
gradually
rose.
regions. How
Elysium
about we
was
play a
indeed
game?
too far
The
away.
loser has to
It
answer
was millions
questions,
of light
and
years
no
away,
lies.
very far
Fire
away.
Sparrow Emperor
Without
suddenly
the
thought of
positioning
an
of the
idea
battleship,
and said
he wouldn't have
truth
been able
or
to
dare.
find where
Yi
Elysium
Chen
was.
raised his brows.
The more Yi Chen
What
thought
game?
about it,
The
the more
Scarlet
reasonable
Wind
it
Emperor
seemed.
asked.
The demons
Guess the
and
dice.
the other alien races
The Fire
must
Sparrow
have found
Emperor
out
took
about
out
the
a covered
existence of
container
Elysium
from
by
his
chance,
storage ring
while
and
the
flipped
human
his
race
palm.
didn't know about
10
it.
dices appeared on
Otherwise,
it.
why
Each with
didn't
1
the
to
human
6
race
points.
send people to
This
support
container
it?
can isolate
Fortunately,
soul power
Elysium
and
is
energy.
still lucky
It is
after
a
all.
special artifact.
I can breathe a sigh of
Wait a
relief
moment.
now that you've
I
come
will
out.
put the 10 dices
Otherwise,
in and shake
I
it.
wouldn't be able to rest
Everyone,
in peace
guess
for
a
the
few
rest of my
points.
life.
The one
dragon
with the most
king
ridiculous
sighed with
emotion
will be
and
asked
then
a
a look of
question.
relief appeared
What
on
do you
his face.
think?
It was very simple. But it's fun. I have no objections. The Scarlet
Chapter
Wind Emperor was the
1176.
first to raise his hand.
Then,
the Dragon
have no
King said that
objections
he had
either.
accidentally
The
heard
Snow
about
Air
the birth
Emperor
of a golden
laughed.
dragon,
Sounds
and it was a
good.
woman.
The
The Dragon
Golem
King
Emperor
had a strong
nodded.
premonition
In
that
the
this
end,
golden
only
dragon
Yi
should
Chen
be
was
Shu Jing.
left.
After all, there were only so many golden dragons in the Dragon Clan, and they could be counted with 2 hands. How could it be so easy to find an unknown golden dragon in the outside world? Therefore, he had volunteered to come with Chen Qinghai. Along the way, Chen Qinghai described Yi Chen and Shu Jing's appearances, and Dragon King was even more certain of his premonition. This is the supreme dragon scale. It's time to return it to its rightful owner.
As he spoke, Dragon King took out a palm-sized golden dragon scale. Although it was small, its supreme dragon chi couldn't be concealed. Vaguely, Yi Chen seemed to see an immeasurably long divine dragon shuttling through the universe. Wherever it went, stars would fall, and the sun and moon would lose their radiance. Xu Jing could sense the dragon chi within the golden dragon scale. However, she shook her head. Master, this is your dragon scale. I can't take it. Xu Jing didn't think that Dragon King should hand over the supreme dragon scale, even if it might have belonged to her parents. After all, if her parents wanted to leave something for her, they had many ways to do so. Clearly, this dragon scale wasn't meant for her. Dragon King smiled bitterly. Don't decline. I'm a bit embarrassed. Dragon King smiled bitterly. Don't decline. Speaking of which, I'm still a bit embarrassed. Back then, I relied on the supreme dragon scale to escape. After my blood drop rebirth, a part of the scale's power integrated into my essence blood. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to reach the sixth sky of life and death realm so quickly. In addition, the dragon transformation pond's power also originates from the supreme dragon scale. Right now, there's not much power left in the supreme dragon scale. The reason why I'm giving it to you is not only because it has a great relationship with you, but also because it's the key to finding your kin. I've asked around, but there's no one in the dragon race. At this time, Chen Qinghai also said, many years ago, a supreme of our dragon clan went missing, and there has been no news of him until now. I think he must have gone to the Elysium you speak of, and left you there. As for where he went, no one knows. This was a secret of the dragon clan, and very few people knew about it. Chen Qinghai didn't know about it at first, and only found out about it after returning this time. Take it. Yi Chen nodded to Xu Jing. Stretching out her hands, Xu Jing received the supreme dragon scale. Buzz. The supreme dragon scale shone brightly, forming an unbreakable connection with Xu Jing's draconic aura. A majestic phantom of a giant golden dragon appeared, staring at Xu Jing. Father. Faintly, Xu Jing knew that this was her father's aura, and her eyes became a little moist. The phantom of the giant golden dragon didn't say anything. With a whoosh, it rapidly shrank back into the golden dragon scale. In the next moment, the golden light on the golden dragon scale retracted, and it returned to its original state. Then, a shocking scene occurred. The golden dragon scale fused into Xu Jing's palm, and in the end, it turned into a golden dragon scale imprint, looking extremely lifelike. Seeing this scene, the Dragon King fell into deep thought. Although this supreme dragon scale had first fallen into his hands, no matter what he did, he couldn't fuse with it. It seemed like the supreme dragon scale was only a transition in his hands, and it was only in Xu Jing's hands that it was truly complete. Also, he felt as if a large stone had been lifted from his heart. Regarding the supreme dragon scale, the Dragon King's feelings were actually very complicated. The existence of the supreme dragon scale was a huge burden, causing his progress to be slow. But also because of the supreme dragon scale, he could break through the shackles in Elysium, and didn't die even after 1,000 years. In the end, it even helped him break through the path of death and come to the Dragon Clan. Originally, the Dragon King planned to wait until Xu Jing became a true golden dragon before handing over the supreme dragon scale, but he didn't live to see that day. Now, it was finally returned to its rightful owner. Handing over the supreme dragon scale to you can be considered as relieving one of my worries. Now, let's talk about returning to the Dragon Clan, the Dragon King said seriously to Xu Jing and Yi Chen. Yi Chen said, we still don't know much about the Dragon Clan. Senior Dragon King, can you tell us about it? Perhaps you have some misunderstandings about the Dragon Clan, but I've lived in the Dragon Clan for nearly 10 years. I can feel that the Dragon Clan advocates freedom. We won't lose our freedom just because we join the Dragon Clan. Freedom is the true essence of the Dragon Clan. If we lose our freedom, we will no longer be the Dragon Clan. You can rest assured on this point. The Dragon King explained. Indeed, the Dragon Clan advocates freedom very much. The entire universe knows this. Chen Qinghai nodded at the side. This time, the Dragon Clan's higher-ups had instructed them to let the Dragon King be the leader. He only needed to cooperate with the Dragon King. Yi Chen and Xu Jing naturally believed the Dragon King's words. Yi Chen continued, then can the giant dragons marry humans? It was impossible for him to give up on Xu Jing. Xu Jing blushed. Theoretically, such a thing can't happen, Chen Qinghai said truthfully. Hearing this, Yi Chen looked at the Dragon King. The Dragon King nodded and said, theoretically, it is indeed impossible for the giant dragons to marry outsiders. But your situation is different. How is it different? The Dragon King said, the reason why the giant dragons can't marry outsiders is not because there is a hard and fast rule. The giant dragons are different from other demonic beasts. The giant dragons will only be attracted to the giant dragons. There is a slight possibility that the flood dragons will also be attracted to them, but it is impossible for them to be attracted to humans or other races. However, before this little girl transformed into a golden giant dragon, she was a human. That's why she developed feelings for you. In this case, the situation is naturally different. Don't worry, the Dragon Clan does not have a hard and fast rule. It is completely up to them to choose their own partners. However, your case is too special. You should know that in the history of the Dragon Clan, there has not been a case of a giant dragon marrying an outsider for countless years. The Dragon Clan will not object. This was a pleasant surprise. Yes, true freedom naturally includes choosing a partner. At that time, Shadao and I were too shocked, so we lost our composure. Chen Qinghai smiled bitterly. Yi Chen and Xu Jing looked at each other. They were very happy. Then when do you plan to go to the Dragon Clan? In fact, Chen Qinghai hoped that Yi Chen and Xu Jing would go to the Dragon Clan immediately. Yi Chen transmitted his voice to Xu Jing. Why don't you go first? I will go after Qing Cheng comes out of seclusion. Let's go together. Xu Jing shook her head. Yi Chen frowned slightly. Let's wait for another month. If Qing Cheng still hasn't come out of seclusion in a month, you can go to the Dragon Clan first. The earlier you go, the earlier you can learn the sacred dragon fist and other Dragon Clan martial arts. In the end, only Chen Qinghai left. Yi Chen and Xu Jing decided to go after some time, probably within a month. As for the Dragon King, he naturally stayed in the City Lord's mansion to catch up. The only pity was that Xu Anho had been away for more than a year. No one knew where she went. Time passed quickly. On the 16th day, Murong Qingcheng finally came out of seclusion. This also meant that everyone was about to set off for the Dragon Clan of the Azure Dragon Starfield. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,